Hey guys, welcome back. Appreciate you guys joining. Today we are going to pick up from where we left off yesterday. If you're just seeing this episode, you didn't catch yesterday's live stream. Yesterday we were streaming essentially the reaction to Andrew Tate's interview with Bonnie Blue. It was very interesting. It was very funny. And today we're going to pick up from where we left off. It was a very long interview, so I had to split it into two live streams. So we're going to pick up from there. But before we get started with that, thanks guys for tuning in. I really appreciate if you guys like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. But more importantly, like the video so we can push this out, get more people to view it, and get more watchers. Definitely trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, and I need your guys' help in achieving that goal. So if you do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this, guys. We're going to get into part 2 of... Ooh, wrong screen. Okay.
Getting as much money as possible, being a gangster, waving guns around, fucking loads of women, that's the culture.
That sounds like you.
Careful. So, if that's the culture that the black society is going to promote, if that's what the music is going to push, if that's what's seen as the end goal of success, being feared, having guns, being a gangster, being a criminal, if all of this is what they're pushing and they're saying this is the end goal of success, and then someone gets there and does it, and then we say, he was threatening women and he was waving a gun around and he was fucking loads of women. So what I'm saying is, it's very hypocritical, this society we live in now, where we push people in a certain direction, and then as soon as they end up exactly where they're headed, we have a go at them for it and pretend they shouldn't be there. It is absolutely false to declare that women are not being sexualized. Women are told to be promiscuous now. Women are told to be sexual now. Mm-hmm. So when a woman ends up promiscuous and sexually liberated, who are we to sit and say, I can't believe this has happened? It's completely asinine. It's a double standard. It's a false dichotomy. And it's amazing to me that we live in this world. If you're going to have black rap music push people to be in big mansions with a bunch of fucking them, taking drugs and waving guns around, don't be surprised when black people do it. And don't be surprised when women end up as when we're telling women to be. If you want women to do something else, then tell them to do something else.
Exactly.
I don't know why we're surprised by it. The thing that's unsettling in all of this is still the role of the average man, who's expected to get far less in terms of loyalty and quality and standard from a woman than he's ever had, and pay a far higher price. Our grandfathers got a woman. He didn't have to be rich. He didn't have to even be famous. He didn't have to be successful. He just had to be a man and do the most basic things. And she loved him and he loved her and they had a happy relationship. Our grandfathers got a woman for fuck all. Now, to get a woman who cares about you, you need to be one of the most famous, rich, well-known, drive a Lambo, this, X, Y, Z. The average man's fucking wrecked.
Yeah, and it's so true. And when I look at society and I look at men from other countries, for example, I probably mentioned this before, but I work at I have a job where I see thousands of people a day. So I get to people watch and really observe, society and different relationships and who's getting into a relationship with men. When they come here and they have their foreign wives, they don't have a problem. Like, they're women, it's easy for them to get them. It's take Indian men, for example. No matter how they look, no matter what status they have a pretty decent, easy time getting women. Same thing when it comes to Mexicans, and certain Hispanic cultures, Asian cultures. Well, Asian culture might be a little bit different now, but I've noticed they have a very easy time, getting women. They don't have to be this rich, wealthy, tall, handsome, good looking. They don't have to do all that. They just have to be a good man who's willing to provide for his family. And that's it. That's the only standard they really got to meet. Here in the West, man, you have to rise to, and in return for them just providing that, by the way, they get a very good woman. A lawyer who's respectable, who covers up, isn't out here dressing, half naked. They just have to be a good man, provide for your family, and treat your wife well. That's it. Over here, we have to rise to this insane, delusional standard. And in exchange for rising to the standard, we get like, it's not even subpar. It's like bottom of the barrel women, bro. Been passed around by every lean. Leaves for the slightest bit of unhappiness. Bro, we have to do so much to get the worst women.
Yeah. And the role of men in all of this is completely forgotten because nobody gives a about men. We're hypersexualizing women, and let's be honest. Bonnie is smart enough to monetize her own content. But most women who are promiscuous are not smart enough to monetize.
But isn't Bonnie part of the problem then?
Bonnie is a symptom of society.
I agree.
I don't want to say of the disease of society. I could, but she's a symptom. She's the end result of the society we have built, which is why it's hypocritical.
Which you think is degrading.
I'm living the best I can in the world that's already been built. I don't give a shit about changing the world. The
She's
world
not here
has
to change
given
it.
me the opportunity to do what I do and monetize from it. I'm going to do that.
But you said you thought you were a positive role model.
No, but Rob.
Well, I am positive because you think of the day I fucked 1,000 men. If you was a rapist, would you go and find someone else? No, I've shared my location. Come and fuck me. Like, I'm reducing rape rates because when you have sex workers that are available and guys want to have sex, they want to breathe, they want to. And if they can't find a girlfriend or they can't afford to pay for one, because prostitutes nowadays can be expensive, I'm saying, hey, I'm doing it for free. Just come fuck me. Take it out on me because I consent to that. So I'm not promoting, people say I promote culture and stuff. I'm not. I'm saying, hey, I enjoy it. I get wet. I get turned on. I wank over my videos. Come and fuck me. Save yourself paying a lawyer. Like, I'm actually doing people work.
What she just said to you, does that shock you?
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. But that's... we're fueling this mentality. This is what freedom without limitations. This is what a world, freedom without duties and boundaries. This is what a world without morality. Because he wanted to do away with that, right? Because morality entails limitations and boundaries and how you should conduct yourself. And that prevents me from living how I want to. So let's do away with all that. And all you have left is do whatever makes you happy. You get described.
None of this shocked me.
No, but do you find it, would you disagree with it? What she's doing? Would you, when you hear what she's talking about, do you sit and think you shouldn't be doing that? Because I'm trying to lead you down a trap here.
Of course you are. You always do.
No,
Right.
okay. Well,
No, let me answer then.
Sure.
I'm quite neutral on it.
Okay.
No,
Because
he's
I think
not. That's a bunch of bull crap. You could see the look on his face hour of this interview and everything that's been set up to this point. He just has this look of just bewilderment and shock and disgust on his face. And now he's trying to, because he knows Andrew's about to get him into a trap, he's acting as though he's neutral. He's not neutral. You can tell by his body language and his facial expressions that he's very repulsed, very shocked by what she's been saying. Bro, come on. Just be honest.
I imagine for some men it is useful,
Yeah.
the service you provide. I imagine other men get probably a bit up by it, and it.
Do you believe Bonnie has the right to make the choices she's making?
I believe you do, she does, I do, we all do, as
Then
long
you
as
can't
it's
have a
legal.
then it's impossible to have any kind of problem with it, surely.
I think you can have an opinion on it.
You
but
just tried to cul-de-sac me there, didn't you, Andrew?
No, the point I'm making is the same people who are going to sit and say what Bonnie's doing is wrong and she shouldn't be allowed to do it are also the same people who say women should be allowed to vote. It's one or the other. Either women do not have the ability to make their own decisions or they do.
Women always had the power to go down this hyper promiscuous route. Well, they didn't have the power. They had the capabilities. And men realized this. They realized this, and this is why they had such strict boundaries and limitations on female sexuality. They had to be covered up. They had to conduct themselves a certain way. You only can get with your husband. The slippery slope of allowing women to wield their sexuality without limitation. But this is what we thought was best for society. Freedom. Freedom without limitations is chaos. And now you have a bunch of Bonnie Blues running around. She's the safest of them. Like you mentioned in the first part of this, in the last live stream. At least you know what you're getting with Bonnie Blue. She's out in the open. She's telling you straight up, here's what I am, here's what I do. I'm not hiding anything. The scary part is that we have millions of Bonnie Blues running around. They're 22-year-olds. They're in college right now. They're at their jobs. And guess what? These girls, they're living the exact same lifestyle, but instead of being honest and saying, "Hey, this is what I am. This is what I do," they're running around saying, "Oh no, not me. I'm not that kind of girl. No, no, not me. I would never. I don't do that on the first date." They absolutely do. So we have a bunch of Bonnie Blues running around. They're just undercover.
If I cared enough about what was going off, or think I could change it by voting,
But you
because the world
can't.
is. So yeah, I don't bother. I don't bother looking in the news or anything like that.
Of course.
And also, why
But you're
should I look at the
confusing me
news?
because you say you don't give a fuck about anything on the world and it's just about you, but then you're trying to promote that you're a great
I
role
care
model
about
for
men's
men.
mental health, and I care about draining their balls and having fun and having orgasms. The only time I talk about the rape rates is when women are crying, saying I'm increasing it. So if you want to start crying and making TikToks and making false allegations, I'll slap you in the face with the facts. The facts are 32% is decreased because of sex.
Let's look at this. Let's take this away from Bonnie for a second.
But haven't you
Look at it
said
in
that feminism's just like
Feminism-
taken over?
Feminism was given to women by men.
Exactly.
Men are the only ones who can project force, Rob. Feminism is a male movement.
Exactly. Everything is a male movement. It's just that we've allowed women to wield us. Men, we're the tool. We are the hammer, the chisel, the chainsaw. We are all the tools that shape society into what it is or what it isn't. The thing is, we used to be the ones wielding the tools. We were in control of ourselves. We made the decisions, and we used our strengths and our capabilities to shape the world in the way we saw fit to be the most prosperous society. We then, at some point, decided we are going to hand over control of us to women. So now women are wielding men, the only element that can actually shape the world in any particular way. So women are now in control of the tool, which is us, men, to enforce their will. To the downfall of themselves, and they don't care if that means the downfall of society or even men. They're wielding this tool recklessly. They don't have a vision in mind when they're chiseling away at society, when they're breaking off this chunk of tradition or structure, or when they're forging different paths. They don't have a vision in mind when they're wielding the tool that is men. So we have this insane world that we live in today. Men were never supposed to hand over power to the way that society looks over to women because they don't have an image. They just care about existing in the moment. Men have to forge the path of the future. Let's see here. Shino Sterling. Thanks for commenting, bro. I really appreciate it. What would you advise the average Western man to find a good woman? Damn, bro, that's tough. That is the question of the hour, bro. In our society, I mean, every man is wondering that. Every man is wondering where, how. It's. I don't even think there's like a location anymore. They used to say, "Oh, go to the church or go to school or go to wherever." There's not really a location you can say, "Go here," because everything has become corrupted. Everything is infiltrated. Feminists have infiltrated the church. They've infiltrated the schools. They've infiltrated like everything. The only thing, and it sucks to say this, but the only thing you really can do as a man is have insane, like very strict filters, and then just go through a bunch of women. I know it sucks, and a lot of guys get completely depressed and just want to quit when they hear that. You're gonna have to date a lot of women and have very strict filters, and just be quick with them. Don't like spend your time wasting it. Once you see that they don't meet the parameters that you're searching for, just go on to the next one, until you find one that fits. Because I can't tell you just go here and find the women because they're there, because they're not in any particular location. There's good ones, but there's so many bad ones. You're gonna have to filter through the bad ones, like 20, 30 of them, and then you'll find the one good one. So you're gonna have to go through a lot. So just start the process with strict filters, and that's the best way. I know that might be tough for a lot of guys to hear, but that's the best you can do now.
You think if women march around in the street outside, anybody gives a... The only reason they get away with it is because men stand around them with guns. Men enforce feminism. Men project force. If women really wanted to fight the patriarchy, and they don't, trust me, the reason they say they want to fight the patriarchy is because the patriarchy doesn't fight back. If it became a real fight, patriarchy versus women, it would last 10 seconds.
That's a good
And
point.
when the riot horses start storming in with the batons, women would very quickly get back in the kitchen. So
That's
there's
a
no such
very
thing
good
as
point.
female power. It's given to them by men. And it's given to them by subsects of men who are actually trying to damage masculinity. It's very interesting. Imagine it this way.
So true.
Every single man out there is fucked, and every single man out there has a past. So every single man out there can have all of his exes contacted and find the Jezebels who want money and can be attacked. So why does only of men decide to use women as a conduit to attack their enemies? Feminism is a group of men using women against other men. That's all it is. Women are the tools and women are the symptoms. Women can't change society. Bonnie can't change anything. She's a symptom of the society she grew up in.
She
'Cause
thinks she thinks she can change men's mental health.
No, she's
What
saying
she
she
just
can
said.
help with men's mental health, but she can't change society. Women, by and large, can't do anything. Women can march all day, every day. Nobody gives a fuck.
If you saw women marching there now, I'd look and think, oh, now what have they done, chipped a nail? If I saw men
That's called a
marching, I'd think,
revolution.
God, something's going wrong. Something's
'Cause
happening.
men
I
can
should
be violent.
concerned.
This is getting real. This is something Andrew Wilson talks about a lot. It's the monopoly on force. Every right a woman has was given by a man, and they're so right. If women march all day long, the only way them marching has any kind of effect is if men decide it's going to have an effect. But if men march, bro, they can make some stuff. If men start, coming together with a belief, or they have a belief system that they want to push, or they want to reshape the world in a certain way, you better pay attention, because they actually have the power to do it, especially if they rally in large numbers. Women, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's so true, bro. Like, they're spitting so much truth right now.
So she is a symptom of society. And what I'm saying is, unless you're prepared to stand up and say the entire society women should not be having sex outside of wedlock, unless you're going to start saying all of these things, you shouldn't have an opinion on Bonnie. Your opinion on Bonnie should be, she is the end result of the society we have built and promoted. She is acting how society has told her to act to get as far ahead as possible.
Yep.
She is being extremely successful financially. She's notorious. She's sitting with one of the most famous men on the planet. She's done a fantastic job for herself, built on the parameters that we've given her to live within.
Yep. Success for a woman used to look like having a family, that you amazing family, a good husband, and raising your kids in a such a way where they're proper members of society, and then supporting your community, being active at your church, being active at the local shelters. That's what success for a woman used to look like. Then we switched that narrative and now told women success looks like hyper promiscuity, boss babe, and just, living it up, doing whatever you want. No bad that we've given women now. Bonnie has achieved at every level. You can't be mad at it.
Here's the rules of the game. She's played the game the best.
Yeah.
If you're unhappy with what she's doing, change the rules of the game.
Exactly.
But when men sit here and go, no, women should vote, and yeah, I listen to my wife, and I listen to her opinions, and me and my wife are best friends, and I love what women think, but Bonnie shouldn't do that. That's hypocritical and stupid.
It is.
That's dumb. All women, to some degree, are sex working. And the reason I respect and being very honest and open about what she's doing. I respect what Bonnie's doing far more than the girls who have attacked me for charges, who got with me, asked for money, I said no, and then tried to put me in jail for it. That's sex work, but
Yeah.
it's just criminal. It's just disingenuous. I respect Bonnie a lot more than the woman who goes out there and gets married to a man she barely loves and divorces him 2 years later and takes half of his estate. I respect Bonnie a lot more than the women who are out in Dubai dating 5 or 6, 7 different men, just getting handbags and rent and all of this stuff and pretending to be an angel and putting boss chick working real estate on her Instagram. All these women are doing the same shit. But Bonnie's open about it. Bonnie's honest about it.
Yeah.
If you want to be with Bonnie, and Bonnie, you were married, I believe, or you had a
I'm
boyfriend.
still going through a divorce.
Okay, yeah. If you want to be with Bonnie,
She
you know
was
what you're getting.
married. What the? I mean, it makes sense that she's going through a divorce. I did not know she was married. That is news to me. That's wild. Let me back up a little bit. Oh, crap. Too far. Too far. My bad, y'all.
Forgotten because nobody gives about men.
We're gonna skip full.
Your
Oh,
opinion on Bonnie should be, she is the end
we
result
go.
of
We're
the
gonna skip a
society
little
as
forward.
far ahead as possible. My wife are best friends, and I love what women do. I'm married to a man she barely loves and divorces him 2 years or you
Yeah,
had a
I'm still
boyfriend.
going through a divorce.
There we go.
Yeah.
If you want to be with Bonnie, you know what you're getting. That's your decision. That's your prerogative. That's honest. That's great. Most of these men out here are married to women just the same as Bonnie. They don't even fucking know it. And if you
Exactly.
told them, they'd deny it. If
Yep.
I open my Instagram, she's a hoe, XYZ, he'll defend her.
Yep.
No, she ain't. You're a rapist.
It's so true, bro. Oh my, like it would, if you tried to help a lot of guys by telling them the girl they're hell bent on committing to, hey bro, I would advise you not to do that. Listen, I know a little something about her past. A lot of them will literally attack you and come at you like you're the bad guy when you're just trying to help them. I've had a similar situation. I'm not going to touch on that. It's a little sticky, but I'm saying you try to help guys and it's like they just rage against you, bro. It's like, bro, I'm trying to help you from not making a huge mistake. I know some things. And they just go into full simp white knight mode, for the girl who they want to believe with all their heart. Already made the decision in their brain that this girl is not a hoe. And to switch that in their mind now is nearly impossible, especially when they've made up their mind that they are in love with her.
Retard. So most of these women out here are the same shit anyway. I absolutely love people. You know what I love, Rob? Karmic retribution. I love, when you see a man play with fire, then he gets burnt. And you're like, shouldn't have been playing with fire.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. We said women, let them do whatever they want. I was sitting there years ago saying, no, guys, no. You need to have children. I tried my best. They tried to put me in jail. Did women try and put me in jail? Well, yes, but who really tried to put me in jail?
Men.
Men tried to put me in jail. It's a male judge, male police officers dragging me in and out the cell, men locking me in the room, men defending these women who lie. Men want me in jail for trying to protect society. But this is the world they wanted. I hope we have more Bonnie Blues.
Because for some reason, men believe that if they... It's funny to me because now men get less women than ever. And yet we're still allowing them to use us as a tool to this, this end goal that isn't an end goal. It's just... Bro, I'll get into that later, but my God, I don't understand it.
I hope every woman just fucks everything, and I hope all of society burns. I've given up.
Yeah.
This is what they wanted, so let's give them what they wanted.
Yep.
Do it.
How would God judge?
Arguing about God and whether he exists or not is a completely different topic. But, the holy books have a whole bunch of lessons to be learned. And I would argue that one of the primary objectives of religion, all religions, since the dawn of time, has been trying to protect society from female sexuality, because female sexuality is unchecked, unlike male sexuality.
Oh, yeah.
Female sexuality, if it goes unchecked, results in some degree of chaos. All religions are telling women not to be overly sexual for a reason, because they know how society ends.
Yep.
That's why I said earlier we're in the end times. So how would God judge Bonnie? I don't know. Would he judge her? Or would he judge the society which created her? I'm not sure. But a society of
Both.
absolute promiscuity leads to a whole bunch of problems that come later down the line, because men lose vested interest in the society with the promiscuity. If there's a kid that exists, and I'm sure he's mine, I have a vested interest. But if that woman's promiscuous and I'm not 100% sure that child is mine or not,
Why would I stick
then I have
around?
less of a vested interest. And yeah, there's DNA tests and there's certain things. But before
I
modern...
might have loyalty to the child, but I won't have loyalty to the woman. Like, I could care less about the woman. Like, give me the child, I'll take care of it because he's mine. But the woman, she could just go back to the streets. We've created this society that literally goes against community and family because men have to care about the women. But if the women are hoes, they're not going to care. They're not even going to want to have kids with them. They're just going to want to have a good time and move on to the next kind of semblance of purity for men want to stick around. We've done away with that.
The only thing that gave me a vested interest in the child or the woman was the fact that my paternity was secured and it was guaranteed. And it was guaranteed through sexual exclusivity, which is
Religion.
why we tried very hard to counter promiscuity for so long. Because
Yep.
men lose all interest in family, by extension, all interest in society. when we do not have guaranteed paternity.
Yep.
But once again, who am I to tell society how to be? Because every single time I do, men try and put me in jail. You know, the enemy of the world are not women or whores, or the good girls or the bad girls, anything. The enemy of the world are the simps.
Yeah.
It's simps that did all this shit.
Absolutely.
It's simpy ass men who listen to women's opinions.
Men who thought if they pandered to women that they would give them access, which absolutely flipped it on its head and they got the opposite result. Now those simp men are at the bottom of the totem pole, and those women that they thought would give them access if they, gave them the freedom that they said they wanted, those women are still smashing the guys at the top. Nothing's changed. They just have more requirements for the guys at the top. And the men at the bottom have less women than ever. At least in the society prior to this, that religion would, keep female delusion and their delusional standards in check. Women had morals and they had higher values other than how tall is he or how big is his dick. So men who had good values but wasn't this like Superman godlike, Chad, still had access to women. Whether they were, average, above average, they had access to women. Now, a bunch of dudes are just jerking off watching stuff on the internet. And all the women that you thought were going to backfired.
Simps did it. Simps are the most dangerous men on the planet. Simps are going to sit there and, like what I said earlier, if I message one of the guys who's marrying one of my exes now, he's going to simp over her, tell her how much he loves her, and pretend I'm the bad guy.
Been there, brother.
What? Sleeping with his wife
there.
when she wanted it. Simps are the enemy of the society, and simps have built all of this shit.
And a lot of them simps, I guess, are going to sleep with Bonnie, aren't they?
Well, they're all in love with her, and I don't blame them. Because fucking losers.
No, yeah, so I don't find these. It's like, before I did judge him, like, before I spent hours and hours chatting to him and stuff, I think that's weird, or why have they requested that? But you know what? I'm saying not.
So you used to judge the men you slept with?
Until I actually educated myself on it, yeah. And that's like most things, you judge things until you educate yourself.
And what have you learned about men sleeping with thousands of them?
That a lot of the time it's the women's fault. It's the women's fault. It's why they're in my queue. If they just sucked them off that day, the balls would have been drained and they wouldn't have come and given me a facial. The balls wasn't drained, therefore they was in my queue.
Unfortunately, there's some truth to that. Like, obviously, there's just definitely some, well, I would say most are just losers in that queue, for sure. If you're waiting I don't care what number you are in the Bonnie Blue lineup to get some, and you're not even getting like a full session because there's so many men in that queue. Most of them only got like a minute or less, and then it's like, bro, bro. All right, so yes, most of them are losers, but unfortunately, yeah, a lot of these women aren't taking care of their men sexually, which will lead them to go down these extreme routes to get that release. So she's right in that sense, to some degree, for sure. There's a lot of guys in sexless marriages with women who just don't care anymore to cater to their men. So yeah, I have to give her that.
A lot of these men, it's not because they don't love their family, don't love their wife and their kids. That's one thing. Having sex is separate.
True.
And also a lot of these men, it's just sex to them.
True.
They're not asking for an emotion down in loads of ways. They're made to work. They're made to provide. They're made to look after the kids, still empty the dishes. Like, they're made to do so much and they feel lonely. They can't go and say to their wife, you know what, work was hard today. She'll bite back and say, oh, the kids kept me up. This happened. And, they dropped their yogurt on the floor. They've always got something to complain about, whereas I'm not that. I'm not like every other woman. They get to come to me and I'll listen to them and I will cater to their fetish. As long as it was within my boundary, it's better because your wife isn't doing that. So I want to do that.
Bro, it's okay. This is weird because she's far, you hate her lifestyle, but her intentions, it's all effed up, bro. It's all effed up. But her viewpoint on why she's doing what she's doing, she cares far more about men than I thought, bro. This is, this is not what I expected. She's definitely not a man. Well, obviously she's not a man hater. She loves men. I mean, that's pretty clear. But it's just, wow. I mean, I hear her because here's the thing. You see these sex workers come on these podcasts, whatever and stuff like that. A lot of OnlyFans girl girls escorts, girls who work at the bunny ranch, brothels, etc. And they have a lot of hatred for men and resentment after working in those fields. So it's weird and just unusual to come across a woman who engages in this lifestyle but genuinely has a really good, honest, caring, sympathetic, which is so weird, and very empathetic, view from the men's perspective. It's so unusual. Most women don't care at all. So to have a woman of her caliber, and I don't say that as if she's at a high caliber, I say that as such a low caliber, but it just wasn't expecting her to have this viewpoint on men and care that much.
I'd be thinking, fuck me, where did you think of that? That's a bit weird, or that's odd. How are you getting off to that? And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to judge them. I don't know what they're going through to a certain degree. If I can make their day a bit better, I wanted to do that because I'm a good person.
Would you not say, though, Andrew, that's a weak man that's going to?
Of course.
Bonnie.
I think men take what they can get. And I think that it is the masculine imperative to take what they can get. Like, once again, I try not to be a hypocrite. I try very hard to be very fair with all of my views. Down the street and a beautiful woman come up to me and said, get me pregnant. No strings attached. I'd be like, all right, safe. I'll take it. Why not? I'll take what you can get, right? The men who are going to Bonnie perhaps do not have the options I have. But then, like me, if I go to Saint-Tropez, Monaco, Dubai, the most beautiful women in the world are begging for me all day, every day. When I go to Dubai, all the women that you men are Instagramming, and she's ignoring me, is chasing me.
Yeah.
I've got the money and the status, which is what they want.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm ignoring them because I can't be asked what to charge. So it's the circle of life.
Yeah.
Do I blame men for taking what they can get? No. If there's a group of men around and there's a whole bunch of jizz, they should be too straight to pull that off. But one-on-one, if they can handle the time vortex, if they can get, a calculator and work it out, it is what it is. Sex used to result in children. That was the point of sex. And now we have the capability of having sex without children, which is a relatively new experiment. And this also happens with homosexuality, with gay people, why they keep doing more and more deprived things, because sex gets boring after a while. It's like drugs, right? You take a little bit and then you need more and you need more for more excitement all of the time. So where the whole ends, I don't know. Maybe a lot of this is down to porn addictions or those kind of things. I'll be here and I'll state completely honestly, and I say this before God and before the cameras, I don't watch porn. I haven't watched a porn clip in 20 years. I don't watch porn. Really I don't need to watch porn.
You wouldn't need to,
I can barely get
bro.
through my roster as it is. I ain't got time to be watching porn. I don't watch porn. I don't jerk off. I don't do any of that.
Yeah, when you have a bunch of women, why would you need to? I mean, crazy enough, some men do. I know men personally with girlfriends who watch porn, but if you have an abundance of women, you don't need to. You really don't need to, bro. Like, but I mean, that's not most men's reality. So most men are gonna watch porn, unfortunately.
I have too many females to service. I'm already behind. Like, I've got to hurry up on this podcast. So I don't do any of that stuff. But if you're jerking off the porn all day, every day, perhaps you're always trying to find something new to excite you. That's why you end up looking at midgets and whatever.
Looking at midgets, bro.
And then perhaps the depravity is the exciting part of it, like drugs or like anything else. But this is just an end result of having sex without the primary objective of having children, because that should be the result of sex is children. We've removed that now. So the point of sex is pleasure.
Yeah.
But we all know that pleasure gets old and you have to constantly up the game and up the ante.
Yeah, when you're just going after plenty, guys will find themselves like they start off with just regular vanilla porn, that just guy and girl having sex, and then a couple years down the line, I don't even want to tell you, I've watched some videos online. I'm not talking about porn. I'm talking about like YouTube videos of men admitting what their porn addiction did to them and how it started off and then what it ended up being. Started off with just watching regular guy-girl sex on your phone or on your computer. And then in 5 years, there's multi-monitor screens all playing different videos, and it has to be, the perfect shots and the perfect this in order, because if it's off, I can't even bring myself to climax because I've warped my brain in such a way that it has to meet these certain very strict things. And I have to pay for this site and this site because this site has the fetish that I like in this way, and then this one has the unique, thing that I like, and I have to play them all at the same time. And bro, it gets extreme. Chasing pleasure, there's no end to that. It's an endless, bottomless pit that just gets more extreme the deeper you go.
I don't know. Do I blame the men for taking the free pussy when they have no other pussy on the table? Absolutely not. I don't blame them. Do I blame Bonnie for making a whole bunch of money? Would my problem be with Bonnie or the men? No, my problem would be with society as a whole. If I believed that was wrong, perhaps I would have been online years ago trying to stop society heading down this direction. But if a whole bunch of men fought against me, turned up and raided my house with guns and waved MP5s in my face, saying that I'm a bad person for trying to protect society and saying what I believe society should function as, then I'd understand that men want this.
They saw society got scared. That's what happened. Andrew Tate stepped onto the scene. He became super famous, and men rallied behind him. Men were starting to wake up. Men were already getting unplugged by the Matrix, due to the red pill, but it was little by little, We'd rescue a guy here, rescue a guy there. And then there came this massive unplugging, if you will. And hundreds, thousands, millions of men got unplugged from tricks, completely just lost its mind. It went into panic mode. What if these men, like Andrew said in the beginning, only men can change the shape of the world and change the direction of the world? What if these men rally? What if these men revolt? What if they join and they create a revolution? Holy crap. And so they had to suppress quickly. Let's hit him with some charges so he looks like a bad guy, so the men start to question if they should rally behind him or not. Let's hit him with this. Let's take away his credit cards, take away his fame. Let's shame him. Let's shame the men that follow him. Let's call them incels and losers and weak. Because they fear men wielding their power and their mind for themselves. So many men got unplugged in that moment, bro. And those men are still unplugged. A lot of those men are still unplugged, and they're helping other men to get unplugged. But anytime men start to rise up in any kind of way, this is why they're trying to crush the red pill right now. You have all these different media sources, and even the government is starting to take notice of RP channels. And I believe there was like a whole thing with the government trying to do something about suppressing them. I'm telling you guys, they are afraid of men and the next revolution, because the next revolution of men, and because the men are upset, the men aren't getting sex, the men are hating the way society is going. When those men finally band together, society's not going to have a chance with stopping them.
So who am I to say otherwise? This is what men and women want. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude. This is the Western world we've built. We've built a Western world where men are just tax slaves and women are the most important things on the planet who can do whatever they fucking want, and they're always permanent victims / always permanently right, and they're girl bosses and we're dumbasses and we just have to build the roads and build the buildings and die in ditches, and this is all a woman's world and it's a matriarchy.
Yeah.
So that's the world we live in. Let women do whatever the fuck they want. Cool.
And that is the you've lit a fire under men. You've used them as tools for so long that eventually they will revolt, bro. You can't suppress and enslave, and yes, it is enslavement, using men for the sole benefit of the women without offering them any benefits in return. You have enslaved men in a system that just uses them as a tool. Eventually, the tool is going to wake up and realize, hey, I'm the one who shapes society. I have the power here. Why am I allowing you to use me against myself? And when men finally, as a collective, as a large enough number, realize that, they're going to have a problem on their hands.
And the government can raise the kids. And this is the new society we've built, the new
It depends which way you're looking at it. But yeah, everything he says.
Well, how would you look at it?
Well, yeah, I guess. I think he is. I've heard clips before where you spoke about, and I think, God, I couldn't disagree more. But it's because I've looked at it out of context. Then when I've actually listened to the podcast and it's put in context, I'm like, he is completely right. So there's not many things, apart from him saying people are gay, I disagree with. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, that is true. It's factual. A lot of the time we're not talking about, when you talk about the past, the future, how it is, it's factual. You look on the news, everything we're saying is true. We're not here just saying, oh my God, I think this is vile. We're saying it's vile. Here's the stats. Here's the statistics to it. So you can disagree with it. We're not saying everything we agree with, but we're giving you the facts. You can't cry about that.
Right.
I agree.
How do you think people are going to take you being on this show with Bonnie Blue?
I don't know. I don't really know.
It's actually nice not being the hated, like most hated person in the room for a change.
Well, I'm sure, yeah. And I think I'd be uncomfortable and unfamiliar with not being the most hated person in the room. But I don't really give a fuck how people take it, to be honest. I think people will understand that, you know, it's entertaining. I think that this conversation's been very interesting. I don't know if people expected me to like have a go at Bonnie or try and tell her what she's doing is wrong.
I've been called like the female version of Andrew Tate for a long time
Why?
now. And I think just because I say women are lazy, everyone's like, you basically sound like Andrew Tate. But it's like, I'm talking from experience. They're talking from full experience. And I'm saying, hey, these are the facts. I've slept with over 1,000 people and this is my experience.
But you know, if you want a really intellectual...
Well, here's the thing. Anytime you advocate for the benefits of men, you're doing something wrong. In the society that we've built today, to advocate for the better treatment of men, for the benefits of men, for men to understand from the man's perspective, oh, you're a misogynist. Oh, you want to suppress women. Women are owed all the understanding, all the sympathy, all the support. But to ever say, well, you're not sleeping with your husband, what did you think was going to happen? How dare, what? Well, have you cooked for him lately? Oh, so you're saying I'm a slave? I have to do things for him? But if she decides that she wants to leave the man, or she wants to go cheat on the man, what are they going to say? Well, have you been neglecting her? Have you neglected her? What have you done for her? Have you been there for her emotional needs? Have you been providing for her? Maybe you're not providing enough. It's okay to say that a man is inadequate if a woman decides to step out or make a decision to leave. It's your fault. What did you do to make her want to leave? What did you do to make her want to cheat? But if a man decides to do any of those things, either cheat or leave, he's a dog, that he had a family, you're supposed to do your job and stay and be committed. I can't believe you left and abandoned her. But if she leaves and abandons him, well, she has to do what's best for her. She has to put herself first. She has to prioritize herself. And so when women hear Bonnie advocate for men in any way, especially being a woman, it goes completely against the sisterhood. It goes completely against the code, the female handbook. It's not supposed to happen. And that's why they don't like her. And that's why they call her the female Andrew Tate.
Conversation. This false bullshit of male sexual exclusivity is actually creating most of the problems in the world today. When we say to women that a man should be loyal to only her, that's what's creating all of the divorces, all of the breakups, all of the women who run from man to man to man to man trying to find a loyal one. None of them are ever loyal. So then they end up just chasing the bag and chasing money and end up being sex workers, which is fine. But all of this comes from this bullshit idea that men have ever been sexually exclusive. Men have never been sexually exclusive. Women were to guaranteed paternity. Yeah. Men, since the dawn of time, every king, every sultan have had harems. They have had concubines. Every single man who could did.
And even the men who didn't necessarily have the means to would just go to brothels. They wanted something new other than their wife, they would go to a brothel. That's it. That's literally it. So even if they couldn't afford to have the wives to themselves, they would go find another sexual partner when they wanted it, if they could afford it. So yeah, this idea that, and look, I'm a Christian, so I advocate based on what the Bible says, where, one woman per man and all that. But at the same time, I understand the world we live in. And it's not one of we do. It's not what men do. And I think, if more women understood that, and I'm not saying they should accept it. But there's the thing. It would be easier for men to fight the urge to be loyal, to be exclusive, if the women were actually wholesome and pure, if they realize the value in what they have. But nowadays, men are told to accept a woman with a 15 plus body count. What loyalty do you have to a woman that wasn't loyal to you? And you might say, well, she didn't know you. She was living her life. you shouldn't have been living life like that. Because what you gave away freely to 15 different men was supposed to be exclusively mine. They don't see it that way. They say, take the leftovers. You get what's left after 15, 20 dudes, and that you need to be happy with that and accept that. That's supposed to be the modern day fair trade, according to women, and men don't see it that way. So why would I be loyal if what I'm getting is scraps, if what I'm getting is the leftovers of these other men? What's the point of being loyal? There's what I have here before me is not valuable. That's the way it is, man.
The men who can't say they wouldn't and say they don't want it because they can't. It's like a broke man saying he wouldn't drive a Ferrari. No one gives a what you think because you're poor. If you're actually important and you can have a harem, you have a harem.
Dead.
They always have. So now we have this weird society where men are out here trying very hard to compete in the sexual marketplace, to become as important and rich and successful and well-known as possible because it's so hard to get a woman. When they finally pull that off, women are chasing him because women only want the top 1% of men. And then when a woman gets with him, she tells him, you can only be with me and no one else. And then he's like, okay, well, you've been with a whole bunch of men before me. You're not even a fucking virgin. You don't even listen to me. You don't shut up when I tell you to. So why the fuck am I going to only be with you? I'll be with 10 women just like you. You
Bro.
all have big mouths. So if
That's crazy. Bro, guys, I promise, swear on my life, I have not watched this before. And he literally just said the exact same thing I just said, bro. He literally just reiterated exact words I just said. Like, why would they 20th, 30th guy in line? There's nothing valuable left. So I might as well just go get more. Listen, I always either I'm going to have one valuable woman or 5 unvaluable women. Because having multiple of them makes up for their lack of value, if that makes sense. Whereas you could have one pure, loyal, virtuous woman that is immense value. Or if you just have a bunch, if you just have the women of today, you might as well have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because they're all so cheap. So you might as well get more. And that's the way women don't understand. That's how men view it.
be with all of you. And then she's like, oh my God, he cheated. And then she'll run away and just do the same thing again with another guy. And before you know it, after 20 she sits there and goes, why am I fucking for free? Let me just get paid out of this. Mm-hmm. So then she says, all right, she either becomes a sex worker honestly or becomes a sex worker dishonestly via rape charges and rape claims. That's what they do. If you're a woman who makes a rape claim against a man and you have an OnlyFans, you literally use sex to make money. And you literally lie to men pretending to like them. Mm-hmm. And now you're doing the same thing in a courtroom. The court has become OnlyFans. The court's OnlyFans now. Nothing's different. A woman just gets her pussy and gets her tears or gets her lies, and she uses the court system to make money as opposed to using the OnlyFans platform. What's the difference?
Yeah, what
I
is
think
the
So you
difference?
have honest and dishonest sex workers. And all of this comes from the fact that we don't have a society where you say, a man at that stature is going to have 4 or 5 wives. Get over it. Well, life would be a lot simpler if we could. If women weren't brainwashed into believing they need a loyal man. A man is loyal to you when he puts up with you, protects you, and provides for you. If a man's paying your bills and will stop you getting attacked on the street and puts up with your emotions, that's loyal. Don't worry about where his dick goes. That's loyalty. He's shown you loyalty. And
That's
he can put
true.
his dick wherever he wants. That's actually loyalty.
What do you think about that?
See, I'm very different though, because I'm the one that does the income. They probably won't be working it, but the other way around.
See, what Andrew said was true from a biological sense. That's how men view loyalty. Because we don't view sex the same way women do. So when we go out and sleep with her, another woman, we're completely mentally and emotionally detached from her. When she does it with another man, of course, we know she's not. She's the opposite. She's completely emotionally attached to him. That's what allowed her to do that in the first place. Us, we're detached. We go home and go back to the one we actually care about. If it came down to it, life or death, bro, they're throwing the chick out. But they'd throw themselves in front of the bullet to save the woman that they're cheating on, which sounds crazy, but that is how the man's brain works because our biologies are different. I'm telling you, that's just life. It's crazy. I know it sucks. It's not fair. Life isn't fair. That's just reality.
Because women also want things to be different. So, I'm not saying I agree with that. I think if I was with a guy, they probably wouldn't work. I'd be the one to be in control, and I'd be the one fucking loads of other guys, and they'd be loyal to me. Things are different.
Yeah, she'd be
That's
well
wild.
because she has the money. She's doing the protection and provision because she's got the cash. But what I'm saying is the happiest women, let's look, and this is cultural. Like if you go to Russia and you meet a billionaire, you think he has one wife. I mean, he has his wife, of course, and he has his girlfriend. And his wife just keeps her eyes closed and doesn't care. And he gets to enjoy his girlfriends and his wife gets to drive a G-Wagon and everyone's happy. It's only in the West where she'll be like, I can't believe he wants to talk to another girl.
Yeah, that's weird.
Stupid. And then women end up leaving men they love because he cheated and then getting cheated on by a man they don't love.
Because women truly cannot put themselves in our shoes and understand that we view and experience possibly detach his emotions and go sleep with her. Like if he's engaging with her, he must love her. He must have deep rooted feelings for her because that's how they view relationships and sex. Any man you get with, you must have deep rooted feelings for him. Unless you're like a whore who slept around so much that you're desensitized. But most women who haven't reached that point yet have to feel something for the guy. They can't understand in their brain how we can just not feel anything. It's just that gap with when it comes to the male and the female experience. A lot of women can't bridge that to understand the world from a man's point of view.
It's dumb. And it's just over and over and over again until they end up as sluts or old and used to the point where they can't get the quality of man they want. Then they're sitting around 36. I can't find a man who's, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. Because the guys you like are with 22-year-olds. My dear, like an idiot. Women, find a man you love. Let him cheat. Just tell him to only come home to you and only love you. Let him do what he has to do. Don't stress him too much. Have some kids. Drive a Bentley. That fixes society. But of course, if I say that, I'm a misogynist. I'm the worst man in the world. I deserve to go to jail.
If you said to that girl, go and work, go and earn your own money, go and do this, they don't want to do that either. So you've got to pick and choose. Like
when you tell women to go earn their own money, one way or another, it ends up being sex work. You tell me you don't see these female fucking estate agents, whatever, in their little girl suit and their makeup and all pretty.
That's funny.
Have you ever seen like one of these successful girl boss estate agents who's obese? I'm asking.
I haven't seen an obese female estate agent, no.
Have you?
And I'm gonna let him get to his point. I don't want to steal his point, but I know where he's going.
Seen obese women achieve anything financially? Or are there, because if you say no, then you're saying the women are judged on how they look. So all version of female work is sex work. That's the question. Can women do anything without being judged on the one thing they have, which is their sexuality?
I think you could be an obese comedian and make money.
Women
yeah, but then you'd be making jokes about the fact you're fat.
Yeah,
that's
and women
why
are
I find you funny.
Let's be honest, women
Facts.
Aren't funny, did you say?
Of course not.
Not
I think
really.
I've made you smile a few times.
Yeah, you've made me smile because I've been impressed by your intuition. Mm-hmm. I've been impressed by how correctly you see society. But I think by and large, female comedians aren't really funny because humor is a masculine mating tactic. We have to make women laugh for them to like us, whereas women don't have to make us laugh.
Yeah, it's like completely optional. It's completely optional. Like learning to be funny is a skill set that actually serves to benefit you. It helps you, get amongst other men who can help you, and it helps get women. It helps them, be more comfortable around you. And yeah, so it's a skill set that men really have an incentive to learn. Whereas women, if they end up being funny, it's just kind of like it just happened to happen that way, or they just happen to have a personality that happened to be funny. It's not because they tried. It's not because they have to be. It's just, maybe. And most of them just aren't because they don't need to.
They have to be hot. Men fall in love with what they see. Women fall in love with what they hear.
Yeah.
Which is why women wear makeup. So we see something we like. And that's why men lie. So they hear something they like. Mm-hmm. Men lie. Every man on a date is a gangster and he's rich. You go, any girl go on a date with any guy. Women watching this, I know you've been on a date with some guy recently. He's got a few tattoos. He's got a sleeve. And he's a gangster. He's a criminal. And he's got all this money. And he's a fucking jackass. He's got like $6,000 in the bank and a rented car on finance. But he's just lying. He's trying to pretend he's the G. And, you're going to fall for it. You're going to suck his and then you're not even going to get paid out at the end of it. And then you're going to realize he's a loser and you're going to go get another boyfriend. So you were just sex working for free like a fucking idiot. You just got tricked.
I'm dead.
You can't trick Bonnie. Bonnie gets paid. You can't trick Bonnie. Bonnie gets her money at the end. You're dumbass. You're sucking for free. Like a retard. So, no matter what they do. Because
hilarious.
the true biology, men are trying to find attractive women who can give them children, which is why we're attracted to women who are younger because they're more likely to get pregnant. That's why attraction in and of itself, what is attraction? Attraction is health. when you look at a woman who looks healthy or has good genetics, because she'll give you strong offspring. That's what attraction even is. So women are always going to use their attraction. Once a woman's obese and ugly, then she starts walking down the street screaming about a bunch of garbage because she knows she can't compete in the true market of sexual dynamics, which is men have power and women have attraction. That's how it works. So I just think it's completely hypocritical for us as a Western society. I think it's absolutely insane to have any kind of opinions on sex work or Bonnie or anything else when women are using their sex nonstop all the time. How is having an Instagram page and being an influencer and doing TikTok dances with massive silicone tits and doing this, then getting millions of views and unlimited money for dancing around?
And you guys, like, I want to really, like, this is why on this channel, I really want to, I'm going to have a segment where I can actually talk to you guys, because I want to understand the men who engage in these certain lifestyle choices. Like, I want to talk to the guys who are watching these women stream and watching them just dance on camera. I want to have a conversation with him. Understand why, how'd you get to that point? Why do you do it? Do you feel shame? Like, I need to talk to you guys. We need to have a conversation, bro, because some men are making decisions that are just mind-boggling to me. And we need to talk it out. We need to talk about this stuff. We need to have debates. We need to just discuss life because, bro, I don't understand these decisions.
How is Instagram not sex work?
You're uploading your best photos. You want people to find you attractive.
You're
using your
filtering.
appeal.
Instagram is a dating app. Women shouldn't be, if you're onto Instagram, you're looking for male attention.
Facts.
You're uploading your best pictures with filters. You got your tits out in every photo. You're shaking your ass in every photo.
Yep.
All these Instagram reels, all of TikTok, all of this. Look at any of the famous women. How is all of it not sex work? You're advertising sex, or you're making people want to fuck you for attention or money. It's all sex work.
Yep.
So we as a society say, yeah, an 18-year-old girl can get massive silicones and dance around on TikTok and get millions and millions of viewers, but she's an influencer. No,
She's
she
a
is
sex
a sex
worker.
object.
Yeah.
That's all she is.
They're the ones that walk down the street. That's what pisses me off. They walk down the street and then they cry that a guy's wolf whistled them. They crying that a guy's looked at their tits, that your tits are hanging out. I actually don't wear revealing clothing as such. I stay covered up. I don't feel like the need to show my tits. People can just see it, in person for free when I want to get naked. But they walk around crying about the fact people call them. It's like, look at you.
Same in the gym.
Look in the mirror.
It's so true. It's so true. I see her perspective. Like, she doesn't have to dress half naked because she embraces who she is. There's no split personality. The problem is that most women have a split personality, or they have a split image that they want to present. Bonnie, she's one image. She's merged the two. Most women, they have the I'm a good girl, respect me, wholesome, at least that's what they try to present, virtuous, fake. But then they also have the whore side of them. And so I'm going to wear the revealing clothing that shows half of my butt hanging out my pants and my nipples through my shirt and my tits are pushed up. But if you look at me, I feel objectified, I feel judged, I feel XYZ. Because they have two different agendas. They want to be sexualized to get that attention, but they also want respect. And the two are at odds. Because if you get sexualized, you lose the respect. If you have the respect, you can't be sexualized. Bonnie, she's all in one. She doesn't need to walk down the street half naked because she has nothing to hide or she has nothing to showcase. When she wants to showcase, she'll proudly showcase what she has. And when she doesn't, she won't. And she doesn't feel like she's missing out on either one because she is one image. Most women are split. They're the whore and they're the good girl. At least that's what they're trying to portray. They're really just the whore, but they have to uphold the good girl image because they need a guy to take them seriously at some point. It sucks goal when he's, vetting women, is find a woman who is one image. She isn't a split between the good girl and the whore. Even though every woman has the potential to be a whore, you basically want her to have aligned herself as close as possible with the wholesome version of herself. People make mistakes, and but you want her to have aligned herself and lived a life consistent with the wholesome version of herself as much as possible. You find a girl who's done that, and that's the girl you get with, not the girl who's uphold the image of the good girl but lived most of her life adhering to the whore aspect of herself.
Same in the gym. They wear those tight gym clothes and complain that people are looking at them.
They're videoing themselves bending over going, oh my God, look at that guy.
So it's anti-sex work. So they do sex work and then complain they're being seen as sexual objects.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, Rob? You know what I'm saying is true. I understand you don't want to go to jail, so you have to be careful.
He doesn't want to go to
understand.
jail.
I'm just doing my job here.
You're just a
I'm
commentator.
dead.
Andrew, if you go to
Interesting.
jail, I'll identify as a guy, so we can go in together.
All right, thank you.
Top and tail. I mean, you can be in me if you want. I just thought, we'll keep that bit a secret.
You know, Bonnie, we're friends. You're my only female
Friends with
friend.
benefits.
No benefits. You know, I've never
No
had a female
benefits.
friend in my life. I really don't have any female friends. I don't have a single female friend because I don't really talk to women unless
I
I'm
just don't
fucking
really
them.
like women.
I don't, they don't really have much I want to hear
No.
to say. So
You know when women talk a lot of the time, and they're just aren't funny. Like, I think I am funny, but like when they speak, I'm like, you're really not funny. I'm having to laugh at this joke to be polite. I'm having to pretend you're interesting out of politeness. I'll have to pretend your stresses at work are relevant, but they're not. You just work for someone else who works for someone else. Like when I listen to other women talk, I'm like, you're boring me. It's not entertaining, and I can't listen to your issues because they're not issues. They're just, I don't know, just pathetic excuses.
So, Rob, let me ask you a question, sir. We have to make a decision. We are headed down the road we are traveling. Do we do an absolute 180 reversal of society and go back to traditional men in charge, patriarchal society where women have to obey their fathers and obey their future husbands, where they have to get married young, have children? Or do we continue down the path where every single woman decides to make as much money as possible using her sexuality like Bonnie does? These are the two options. They're the only options that exist. There is no in between. There is no smart answer. There is no Aikido. There is A or B, Rob. Do you want to remove the female vote, or do you want your daughters and every other woman you know to end up like Bonnie Blue? Which one?
That right there is the question. Because here's the thing. We like to believe that there's more options on the table. Well, actually, we can still have the society that we have, but we can still try to bring back traditionalism in this way and, try to tell women to... Bro. It's not going to happen. There's two options on the table. Either men are going to take charge and steer the world back in the direction that makes sense, or we're going to have unchecked freedom for everyone, which means women are going to shape the world in the way that they see fit. Women and weak men. I would say, not women. Weak men are going to shape the world in the way that they see fit, and the weak men are being used as tools by the women. You have two options, bro. Two options. There's no mix. There's no let's find a hybrid answer where we can take a little bit of traditionalism and a little bit of liberalism and merge it together and make a baby that suits everybody. No. Either we're going to have a world full of whores and no standards, no expectations, no value, no virtue, no duties, no responsibilities on the women's part, because they're going to force men to have duties and responsibilities. I'm talking about on the women. But men, as a byproduct of that, are not going to get any value from society, and they're going to just be used as tools. Or we're going to give power back to men, have men lead society in a direction that makes sense, and have the women follow that. You have two options. I wonder what he chooses.
Well, I think both roads end
No,
the same
don't
way.
try and Aikido it, Rob.
But both end the same way.
Which is what?
Both end up back with patriarchy running society. When, what is it? Weak men
Create hard times, and hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times, and good times create weak men.
And that is the cycle.
Absolutely.
And society is weak right now. And if you don't have strong leadership, you have government that starts to lead. And when government starts to lead and becomes too bloated and takes from society, in the end, society rebel. Even people who voted hardcore Labour, and even people in Labour will turn on Labour soon enough.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think you're right. But I think things are going to get far more interesting before that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Revolution.
Absolutely.
That's the only way you reset.
Silver has crashed. It's back to its price in 1974, and I'm going to buy more. And if you'd like to learn how to invest
skip
and build
past
multiple
this,
financial
shall we?
so join thousands of us. Financial freedom.
He's under such constant attack. That's why they're trying to get rid of me. That's why they don't like what I say, because when you have men who are prepared to stand up for something, we're seen as a threat to the system. That's why masculinity in and of itself is attacked, because they don't want men who stick up for themselves, because if you stick up for yourself, you stick up for society, which is why they use feminism and they weaponize it to destroy the masculine instinct. Because if women have more power than men, and if you can't even have a family, and you can't even tell your own house, and you're the king of that household, and your woman obeys you, and your children obey you, and you're the king of the house, you're not going to give up that street or that town or that city or that country easily, because that's your house, that's your kingdom. If you're going home and your woman doesn't listen to you, and she doesn't suck your dick, and you're paying all these taxes, and your kids ignore you, and they just watch YouTube, and you're not the man of anything, why are you going to stand up and rebel on the street? You don't give a shit. You've lost all vested interest and protection. Your protective instinct has been neutered.
This is so true. This is why I'm saying if men are forced to go to war on behalf of women, it's like, why? Like, at the same way, like, if you're a single guy, no family, which we're having more and more of them because society doesn't care to give men incentives to have family, which makes them less invested in society's safety and prosperity. Because why? Why am I going to go and sacrifice for a society that has been using me this whole time? Why am I going to go sacrifice for women who don't even care or disrespect me and don't show me any kind of appreciation for what I do? If there was a Titanic scenario in 2025, the outcome would look very different. If you think a bunch of men are going to stay on the ship and die while a bunch of modern women live, with the way Western men view society now, they have no incentive to die on behalf of a modern woman. It's not that their protective instinct is like neutered. It's there. It's just, why? We pretend like men don't have logical reasoning, as if somehow we're just this big ball of just testosterone that just, barrels forward with no thought. We're just horny and we follow our dicks all the time. But no, men actually think quite a bit. We talk a lot less than women, and a lot of that is spent thinking about what's the point. If I'm going to put my strength and my effort towards something, then I want to know if this is going to be beneficial to me. How does this come back to benefit me? We all have only so much energy within us. Only so much money, only so much energy we can put towards any particular thing. So if we're going to put energy and time, and if we're going to invest in something, we want to know that that is going to have a positive return on investment for us. And men are starting to realize that the way society is set up, that if they are to invest their strength, their time, their money, get a family, sign the contract, invest half their assets, put half their assets on the line, that when they make these long-term investments into society, into women, that the return is a spit in the face. Half your assets and your kids get taken from you. Society doesn't care about you. You're broke. No one cares about your mental health. But you want me to go fight for you? But you want me to die on behalf of the women and stay on the boat? Why? What's the point? And, bro, like, I'm telling you, the society is going to have a revolution on its hands, the likes of which they've never seen, because they have completely ostracized men while using them as tools. And when that backfires, it's going to backfire in such a spectacular way.
The point I'm making about certain groups of men using women as a conduit to destroy other groups of men. Women are not the gun. Women are the bullet. Men still hold the guns. Feminism is a bullet that a man has shot. This is what most people don't understand about all of these ideals. And what I'm saying is, the society we have built has encouraged women to be as promiscuous, as rebelling, as open, as sexual, and to get as much money as possible. And Bonnie has just played the game the best and won the game.
Yep.
The game is chess. She's a grandmaster at it. You can't complain about the grandmaster. You have to complain about the game of chess. So it's completely asinine for anybody to ever give Bonnie a hard time about anything she's doing ever. When in fact, she's just the best at the game that's currently being played. because 99% of women are trying to do the same thing as her, which is use their to get some money.
And that doesn't bother you hearing that?
No, it's factual. It's the truth. So why could I be offended? If you're offended by something that's factual, then change it. If I was offended by calling a prostitute flag, then I should change that. But how can I sit there and say I'm ever offended by anyone telling me what's the truth?
And Rob, and I want to make something clear.
Facts.
I really do try and ground myself in absolute logic in all ways. And that's why I'm extremely hard on myself. I've said to you in previous podcasts that what happened to me about jail and all this shit, it was me. I take absolute responsibility for everything that's ever happened to me. I'm not a person who blames anyone else. Considering women just want status and money, don't think I haven't thunk about the fact, I love you so much, I love you, I love you. Of course. I love that you're attractive. I love that you're attractive and you do as I say. And you love that I'm very famous and very rich and I give you a lifestyle. Now you say you'd love me if I didn't give you the lifestyle, but if I didn't give you the lifestyle, how would I even be me? How am I me with no money? How am I me with no status? How am I me with no power? Who am I then? I'm a different person.
And
so I know you're with me because you get things, and I'm with you because I get things.
This is why a lot of the times it's best, which is why a lot of guys prefer to meet their girl before they get success. Because while it's still transactional, even when she meets you and you're broke, it's still transactional. It's just that the transaction necessary to get her was far less. So it's closer to, it's not real love, but it's closer to real love than a girl you was required to get her was maybe you had a car and you treated her nice. It was still transactional. You had to drive her places, maybe take her out on a date, take her to a nice burger joint, treat her nice, buy her a gift here and there, call her pretty. It's still a transactional thing. You're still protecting her. If something popped off, there's that transaction. It's just that the transaction required to get her was less. Therefore, you value her more because it seems like she's more in tune with she's more willing to accept the real you because she's willing to accept you offering her less and still being there. And this is why men who find a woman like that and then they get rich, they're like fiercely loyal to that woman because she stuck by them. But when you get rich, it's like, yeah, you wouldn't love me if I wasn't me. And the only me you know is the me with money. So I would stay with you even if you lost all the money. How do you know that? You've never met that version of me. Now, if the girl who was with you before, she can say that, and that could actually be logical. That could actually make sense. But the girl you've met after you made all the money, her saying she would stay after you've made all the money, nobody knows if that's true or not. And more than likely it's not because she has no sense of act like. A guy who's broke or who's on his way up trying to grind is going to move, act, think, emote very differently than the man who's already made it at the top. Same guy, different places in life. You don't know if you're going to love that version of me. Probably not.
All relationships are transactional. This podcast is a transaction. This is how things work. So I'm not stupid enough to believe the women who say they love me. Even though they say they love me, and even though they mean it when they say it, they're not smart enough to analyze that they are doing a transaction. Because they don't think of it that way. They just feel love.
They just feel.
Oh, I love you so much. Oh, you love me so much. We're just cruising in the Lambo, and we're just in. Oh, you just all of a sudden you say you love me. They don't even realize what they're doing. I do. I understand the world very well.
But isn't love a human need?
Love is a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
It's a human need.
Women love who protect and provide for them, whether they're the French soldier or the German soldier, sir.
Yep.
Women love when they get what they want. That's it.
You need
So there's no
water.
loyalty. Loyalty doesn't exist.
Loyalty, what I'm trying to say here, and any man who's been to divorce or had problems with women will agree with me and understand exactly what I'm saying. Women are loyal to how they feel.
Yep.
If you make them feel a certain way, then they're
they're
loyal
loyal
to that feeling,
feeling.
which is loyal to you. Women aren't loyal to anything outside of how they feel.
Exactly. And that is where men fall into a trap because men think women are loyal to them, me, this individual here. This, I am not conditional. Who I am me. I am unchanging. I am this being. You're saying you love me. No, she loves how you make her feel. The feeling you give is subject to change, and that's why her feelings towards you on whether she loves you or not is subject to change. So a lot of men will get, hurt, heartbroken. You said you loved me. How can you change? Same guy. Why are you now saying you don't love me? And they take it very personal. But what they're really saying when they say they no longer love you, or when a woman leaves or she falls out of love, it's like the feelings that you were giving me have changed. The way I'm experiencing you, the emotions I'm experiencing as a byproduct of being with you have changed. Thus, my love for you has changed. The best way for her feelings and that she's getting from you, the best way to keep that from changing is for you not to change. And I know this sounds crazy because most women are telling you and they try to get you to change. You get the girl, then she tries to get you to change. But you got the girl in a certain place. You got the girl being a certain you. Once she tries to change you, now the feelings she gets from being with you are going to be different, and then she leaves. And you're just left there wondering like, but I did everything you said. I changed in all these ways. I took you out on more dates. I helped with the kitchen. I cooked the meals. I did. It's like, yeah, but as you did more of what she was telling you to do, you began to change more away from the original version of yourself that got the girl. So women kind of shoot themselves in the foot by telling men to change, and men shoot themselves in the foot by actually listening to them. So you have to understand female psychology. They're loyal to the emotions that you make them feel. Stay, more than likely. Unless another guy comes around who makes her feel an even greater emotion, and that, because there's other variables, it's not just you. That's the thing. It used to be easy to keep a woman loyal because there wasn't as many influential factors that could there wasn't as many influential factors that could impact her emotion. It was primarily just the man in her life that had the biggest, impact on her emotions. Now it's just not the man. Now it's also Instagram has an impact on her emotions. The video she's watching, TikTok has an impact on her emotions. The women, the bitchy, man-hating women at work have an impact on her emotions. She watches a episode of The View that has an impact on her emotions. So now it's difficult in today's society for a man to keep a woman's emotions then you could keep her there. But now you're battling with Instagram, TikTok, the friends at work, the guy at her workplace, her boss, her this, the that. There's so many different influences that are messing with how she feels. So that's why it feels so difficult to keep a woman loyal, to keep a woman's attention on you, because there's so many things. You probably didn't do anything wrong a lot of the times. You didn't change. You didn't slip up, but some greater emotional spike happened maybe at work with the guy at work, or another emotional spike happened when she saw some toxic video on TikTok. Her emotions changed, and she's loyal to those new emotions. Hence, I feel like I can do better. Hence, this just isn't working for him anymore. Hence, we grew apart, and there goes your girl. Man, it's just society. This is why men are moving to cultures that are more traditional, cultures that have less impacts on female emotion because it's very down to earth, it's very grounded cultures. They just have a regular day-to-day life. They work, they focus on family. They don't have all these different things that can switch up their emotions. So you have a more stable woman mentally, and your impact on her is more impactful because there's less things trying to infiltrate that. I know that was a long rant, but I hope you understand what I'm saying as to why it's so difficult.
Men actually are more loyal than women because men, like I said, can suffer gracefully. Women can't. Men will be loyal to a society. Men will be loyal to a race. Men will be loyal to their friends. Women can't even get along for 5 minutes amongst themselves. Men will be best friends for 50 years. Men are loyal. We know loyalty completely. We'll go die in a ditch for a flag. You want to talk about loyalty? Men are loyal. Women aren't loyal. Women are, how do I feel today? You can take a woman on a private jet to a mansion in Miami. And then the next day when she's mad at you, she will literally say verbatim, you never give me anything. You don't take care of me.
Facts.
You reject me. I'm not looked after. She'll forget 12 hours before where she had the world.
Bro, what he just said brought back so many memories. Like, it's crazy. You'll hear guys say, man, I sacrificed for this girl. I gave her everything. I gave her everything I had. I sacrificed in every way that I could. But once her emotions are switched to a new thing, it's like, you've never done anything for me. It's like instant amnesia. And you're looking at her like, you evil, evil person. To take all that I've done and sacrificed for you and just pretend like it was nothing. It's because they're not loyal to those sacrifices for a man. Oh my God, you have a friend for life. You have a friend that will ride and die for you. If you were to sacrifice for another man the same way men sacrifice for a woman, bro, that man will come running anytime you need him. Men are loyal. When you do right by a man, you say you help him out, you come to his aid, you've stood by him when he really needed you the most, that man will never forget that. I have friends till this day that I could call upon because I've been there for them at their lowest point. I've been there for them where no one else was. And they will ride with you to the day you die, come to your aid, vouch for you, support you, anything you need, bro, just let me know. And the thing is, we are that way when it comes to sacrifice. So we think if I sacrifice and do all this for a woman, she's going to view my investment the same way a man would. No, bro, because she's not loyal or to the sacrifices that you've made the same way a man is. She's only loyal to the emotions. That's it. And this is why guys, like when I'm not even going to go into that. This is why, guys, you gotta not sacrifice past what you're willing to accept as loss. Let me try to reiterate that. Anytime you're investing in a woman, make sure you're only investing up to the point where you feel as though I'm not gonna feel bad if I don't get anything back from this, and I'm not gonna feel bad if she doesn't appreciate. Well, of course you feel upset if she doesn't appreciate it, expecting it in return to a certain degree, because they don't view investment the same way men do. They don't. So the same way you do with stocks, good example actually. When you're investing in stocks, they if you have like a good person giving you advice, they'll tell you only invest what you're willing to lose. Only invest a certain amount that you're willing to part ways with, and it wouldn't destroy you if it went one way or another. If it went positive, great. If it went down, it's not going to kill you. You're not going to have sleepless nights over it. That's how you need to invest in a woman. Only invest up to the point where you won't feel like, oh man, I took a loss if this went south. If the relationship goes south, oh my God, I took an immense loss. Only invest up to that point, because if you go past that and you're expecting immense loyalty and appreciation and that she's going to ride and die for you because of how much you invested in her, think again, bro. You will invest your entire life in that woman. Her emotions change. Everything you've done, out the window. Don't care if they've moved on. And you're just left there looking at just thinking, pondering, how can someone be so evil? It's because you failed to understand, or it's just were never taught as most men aren't, that women are only loyal to their emotions. And that's it. That's it. That is it, bro. Sucks, I know, but that is it.
Because women are only care about how they feel. They don't even think. They just feel. And what they feel is absolute gospel truth, and it matters more than society, matters more than everything else. Why are the white women of Britain not waking up saying, our population's being replaced, our grandfathers died for this island, we need to have as many white children as possible before this becomes a caliphate? Why don't we protect the race of British people who only have this land, and when this land is gone, there's nowhere else to go? We need to find white husbands and have Christian children now. Why? Because they don't feel like it. They don't give a shit about World War II. They don't give a shit their grandfathers died. They don't give a fuck about England. They don't give a fuck about anything because they only care about how they feel. Whereas a man might sit and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to suffer for the greater good of my race, my nation, my ideals. So men are loyal.
Like, for example, if I was in a relationship, I believe he'd be loyal and I'd be loyal. But like I said, that's...
But you're getting divorced, aren't you?
Yeah, because for a whole separate reason. Me and my ex, we grew apart, was together, went from the age of 14. You change a lot in that time. And most women just stay in that relationship because it's comfortable. It's easy. It'd been easier if I stay with my partner. It saves the work. It saves the, to a heartache to a certain extent. It saves the having to split your finances. It's easy and lazy for me if I just stayed in that. And most people in relationships, these people don't go, I want to focus on my happiness and leave that relationship. But I do. I focus on myself. I'm happy to admit I am selfish a lot of the time. And for me, staying in that relationship didn't mean happiness. So I left that. Most women would have stayed in that.
So are men loyal and women not loyal? Do you agree with what Andrew said there?
I was loyal to my partner to a certain degree.
But loyal, when I'm saying loyal, everyone's confusing that with sexually exclusive. Mm-hmm. See, I'm loyal to my women, but I'm not sexually exclusive to my women.
Yeah.
And a weak man will confuse the two and go, no, loyalty is sexual exclusivity because he's a little bitch. That's nothing to do with loyalty.
I think it depends on your agreement and communication with that person. Some people have swingers. Some people have open relationships. So that, yes, they're having sex with the people. They're communicating a lot of the time.
All right, Rob. So which woman do you have more respect for? A woman like...
Here we go, A or B.
Yeah.
Because that's how the
No, but
world
life
works.
is A and B's.
It is A and
Life
B's.
is actually A and B's.
Andrew,
no, I'm asking you.
I'll play the game.
Okay,
Let's
perfect. A woman like Bonnie who's very honest and very open and uses her promiscuity to financially gain, or a woman who pretends she loves a man for money who she doesn't really love and intends on divorce raping, because there's 1,000 times more of them than there are Bonnie Blues. And those are the actual problem. A woman who will falsely accuse a man of or falsely accuse a man of hitting her in a divorce court to try and get as much money as possible off a man she barely even loved in the first place and she was only with him for money, or a woman like Bonnie who's honest. Who do you respect more?
Yeah.
I respect someone who's more honest about their femininity and sexuality.
So these women who are just with me and telling me they love me because they want my money, and the women who accuse me of but they don't get it, and all of my current girlfriends who say, I love you so much, but they run their mouth to me the second they don't like something and they get upset about something and they show they don't actually respect me. They just want a lifestyle. Do you think I respect them more than I respect a woman like Bonnie who's honest?
Do you think maybe you're just attracting that kind of woman because
I'm super successful and super rich? Probably.
But that's what women...
No. I used to believe that. Oh, you're just attracting that type of woman. No. Because I'm getting the same type of woman Andrew Tate's get. Well, I found a good woman now. But when I was out dating, I was encountering the exact same thing. All men are complaining about the exact same thing. And these are different religions, different personalities. Good men, bad men, men in between. And yet we're all encountering the same traits in women. So no, it's not the fact that he's Andrew Tate and he's saying what he's saying that makes women of certain, certain kinds of women attack. They're all, the sad part is most of them are like that. It's not that we are attracting certain types. It's that most are like that. We have to sift through the majority to find the few. That's what it is now.
Race.
But that's what women chase, and that's what the most...
Do all women chase that?
Well, Rob.
A lot. The people that are broke sit and complain the fact they're broke. So just because they don't have it, they want it.
Rob, let's reverse this. You're saying I attract a certain type of woman who loves money, right?
I think we all attract a certain type of person based on who we are.
Okay,
No.
You nailed it. So based on who
Not
you are,
really.
depends on what you chase in the world. Wouldn't the most attractive women on the planet want money? Let me ask you, this is a thought experiment. If you're a beautiful woman and you know you're beautiful, you're in the top tier of beauty on the planet, You're the top 0.1% of women on the planet in terms of pure looks. Are you going to use that to make money, or are you going to go with a broke? You're going to use that to make money because you have a USP.
Well, society proves it, I think.
Absolutely. So if I want the most beautiful women on the planet, those women want money.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So you just get rich to attract beautiful women? Is that what
No,
you're
that's
doing?
not why I got rich. I got rich because once they have money, that they never want money in the first place. They wanted power. You know this. Elon himself knows this. Imagine being Elon, the richest man on the planet. You still got some Jezebel, Ashley, running her mouth about you and taking you to court. That's the matriarchy we live in. You be the richest man on the planet. Some silly woman can still lie about you and drag you to court. Isn't that incredible? Think about that. That would never happen in ancient times. You're a king. You're the richest man on the face of the earth. And some random gets to drag you to court and put you in front of a judge. Incredible.
I know,
Look at
that's
me.
wild.
Trying to take down my empire with these women just lying. This is the world we live in. We live in a man wants the most attractive women on the planet. And you want true beauty. The women you find will instinctually want money because they're beautiful. Beautiful women, that's what they want. They want to get something for their beauty because they understand how unique they are. Don't we all? If you understand your unique set of skills, you want a high-paying wage at a job. If you know you're the only person who can do this job, you want to be paid well for it, don't you? This is human nature. My point is for the people complaining about Bonnie Blue, they need to shut up and complain about all the women out here pretending they love men and dragging them through divorce courts and taking half their stuff.
See, with me,
Bonnie's
you know
never
what you're
taken
getting
half of a
into.
man's stuff.
No.
You've never taken half of a man's anything. You've taken some OnlyFans subscriptions. She ain't taking half of a man's house.
Exactly.
Wait a minute here. How much your top subscribers pay you? I mean,
Yeah, but that's voluntary. It wasn't
Exactly.
taken. It was given.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the difference. And it sucks because you know what? It's so weird that Bonnie, as much as you'll hate her choices, you can't fault her for it because you told her to go do it. You advocated for this society, the liberals, you simp men, you weak men, you liberal women. You advocated for this society of freedom without restrictions and boundaries. So you can't fault her for her choices. And yet, Bonnie, she has one element that most women lack. And that's honesty. There's so much value in honesty. And I'm just now realizing that. Like, everyone knows being honest is valuable. That's a good trait to have. But I'm starting to see, with the extreme that Bonnie Blue is, but just how honest she is. Then with a girl, like, you know she's a hoe. You know her body count is enormous. And yet I feel safer dealing with her than I would some random chick. Because I know what I'm getting. I know she's not going to falsely accuse me. I know she's not trying to take my money. I know she's not trying to lie and pull the wool over my eyes in terms of her purity or her value. You don't know anything about modern women. You know nothing about their body count. You know nothing about their past. You know nothing about their intentions. You know nothing. You know nothing. Everything is just complete anonymity, obscured. It's just, yeah, honesty is incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable. And so much of what it's called like the female mystique. So much of what it is to be a female is shrouded in just mystery. Everything is a big question mark, which is just what makes dealing with them such a huge gamble. Dealing with Bonnie Blue removes the gamble. And I'm not to say that I would choose Bonnie Blue, but it feels safer in a weird way.
That's like if
How much? What's the biggest amount of subscriber
we're
pays?
talking like hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands of
course.
pounds.
Good
Of
Lord.
course.
An individual man pays
Yeah.
just to see your
Hundreds of
content online.
thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's given. It's not taken.
Thousands of
I used to have
pounds.
a webcam studio. That's normal. If she didn't take a man in front of a judge and forcibly take his stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what Bonnie's doing.
It's more respectable. It's crazy to say that because of the work she's doing. But it's more respectable than these chicks who will have a good man divorce him because they want to go, they've been cheating and they finally want a monkey branch, and then leave him in a horrible state. Take his kids, run off, and then still fleecing him for child support that's way above the amount that is necessary. Who's worse? Bonnie Blue, who's getting free money that is given to her willingly, or women who try to take it by force in the most malicious, evil ways possible? The society is looking at her as a villain. But the more I watch this, the more I realize, no, this is the hero you wanted. And honestly, in many cases, she's better than the women who are saying that she's so disgusting.
Is far less destructive or heinous than a woman dragging a full-grown man in front of a judge and making him liquidate half of his empire that he worked for his entire life so she can take that money and go f another man with it. I think every single divorce currently going through the courts today is more heinous and more aggravating than anything Bonnie's done.
Where if someone got with me, I'd be like, Andrew, I've got tight holes, good blowjob skills, and I'm not going to cry rape the next day.
How could you be tight with that? I don't want to just state the obvious, but how could you be tight with that amount of men?
Well, that'd be your opinion, Rob.
I'm just a question. My opinion doesn't mean anything in this situation.
I can prove it, though. Do you want to prove it? We'll see who's tighter, your wife or me.
That's crazy.
Next question, huh?
Andrew, what's your biggest failure or regret?
I don't operate from a realm of failure. I don't think I've really failed it very much. I think I've done pretty good in this simulation, considering the primary objectives of life.
Would you not class though going to prison?
I don't consider that a failure, no.
But isn't success a series of small failures or big failures in order to be successful?
Yeah, but I mean, what's the primary objectives of the masculine world? The primary objectives are to have an empire, which you can't say I don't have financially and socially. Was a cultural force. To have progeny, which I have. To be strong and to be well-known and renowned, which I have. You know, I dedicated my 20s to fighting in the ring. No one can say I'm not brave. I dedicate my life to combat, and I have a whole bunch of children and a whole bunch of money. It doesn't matter if I go to prison for the rest of my life. I've lived more life than most men ever will.
Yeah.
And I think I've done pretty good in this version of the reality, considering I'm from a Luton council estate.
And
I don't operate from the realm of regret. And I don't regret going to jail, and I don't regret anything bad that's ever happened to me, and I never will. If bad things happen to me in the future, I won't regret them either. I just don't operate from that frame. I really do consider myself far more a commentator on life than a liver of life. I am a vessel, but I observe everything from above. And what happens to me, this is just the body, the conduit that God was fortunate enough to give me to observe life through. I'm glad he made it tall and strong and sexy and brown. That's great. But I'm quite externalized about things. And if I go to jail, I'll enjoy the experience of jail. And
are you hard on yourself?
You have to be. Otherwise, you can't win.
Are you hard right now? I mean, I heard they call you Cobra Tate. Are you packing a python?
Bonnie, you know, Bonnie, you're not an ugly woman. You're attractive. But because I'm jaded through my, long and industrious career, the only thing I find interesting really about women nowadays is kind of similar to something you said earlier.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to take the souls of the virgin men.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like to get a woman's heart more than I like to get her. I kind of like her to be obsessed with me. And that's easier to do when you're one of her first men.
I mean, as soon as she sees you watching your money, you're all right. You've got a heart.
Yeah, but no, that she's obsessed with my bank. I want her to be obsessed with me for real. I try and find women who love me, which is very difficult.
For who you are and not your money and transactions.
No, it starts with the money and transactions, and it kind of stays that. But I like to have women who feel like they can't live without me, because if a woman feels like she can live without me, I lose all attraction to her. I don't know why. So it's nothing personal. I'm sure your technique is fantastic, and you're very attractive.
Thanks.
But
do you think that makes you a narcissist then?
Oh,
no.
I think every single person on the planet is a narcissist.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous when we sit here and say, oh, he's a narcissist, but I'm not. Of course, that's the dumbest. Every single person on the planet.
When you look at the definition of it, everyone is to a certain
narcissist.
extent. As long as you want to be successful and you believe in what you believe in and you feel empowered by it,
of course,
suddenly you're a narcissist.
Everybody's a narcissist. Everybody's out for themselves. Everything is transactional. And the goal of all transactions is to get the better end of the deal. And I have no problem with a girl spending my money if I feel like I'm getting the better end of the deal.
Yeah.
And if she gives me children, for example, that's one of the ways she can give me the better end of the deal. If she dedicates her life to me and she's sexually exclusive to me and she doesn't go out clubbing or partying and doesn't do anything with that transaction, but it is a transaction. It's absolutely what it is. I'm not interested in having sex with women just for the sake of sex.
Mm-hmm.
This might be controversial, don't find sex
God
that.
forbid you're controversial.
I know. I don't find sex that entertaining. I really don't enjoy it that much, to be
Maybe you need
honest.
to switch your girls
Sex
up.
is supposed to be entertaining.
No, I really like. I'll be halfway through and I'm just like, you know what? What? I got better shit to do. I can go.
I thought you need to impregnate her.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason I'm doing it. Because I really don't find sex that
How long
great.
are you lasting in the bedroom?
Long enough, my dear. I don't really find sex. I'm not that sexual a person.
I feel like most men can not relate to that statement because most men find it very difficult to get women. And I'm not saying that I'm on Andrew Tate's level by any means, but I can relate to that statement because I did have a rotation. I did have a lot of women. And yeah, I think that's why I feel so now comfortable just being with one woman, because it's like, you don't need it anymore. You don't need it anymore. You don't value it anymore. It's just kind of like, It's all you can think about when you don't have it, but once you have it, it's just like, I got it. I could have it whenever. They're begging me for it. I don't want it anymore. It's like, I could do it. When you can do it whenever you want, and you have a multiple girls of different nationalities, and you're not begging, hey, can I come over? No, they're begging you to come over. They're hitting you up throughout the week. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. When am I gonna get to? When are we? When do I get to see you? And then you're honest with them, so it's like they know you have other chicks. They're sending you pictures and stuff, and they're like, so I know I look better than that last chick you were talking to. Or I know I look better than the chick you're with right now. And it's like, you reach a certain level of abundance to where it's just like sex is different at that vantage point because you don't need it anymore. So you get to see sex for what it really is now, and it's just like, oh, it's just an act for making babies, and we've attached pleasure to it. It is pleasurable, but when you've stripped away the real reasons that sex is actually for, and you've only been using it for pleasure for so long, and then you have such an abundance to where you don't need it anymore as often, you're like, wow, I don't feel like I want to engage with this as much anymore. I don't feel like I just want to engage in sex for the sake of sex anymore. And I know that might sound very strange for a lot of guys to hear, because you're just thinking like, man, if I could bang multiple girls endlessly, I absolutely would. You would for a while. But then you'd realize, well, what is this? What am I doing? What's the point of this?
And I think that's because I could have it as much as I wanted, maybe. I don't know. I mean, most men are
saying
so
the
busy
exact
trying
same
to chase it
thing
all the time that it's entertaining to them. But because
it's funny because I swear on my life, I have not watched this before, because it might sound like I watched this before and then he's saying the same thing I'm saying. It's because when you experience certain things as a guy, you have certain perspectives. But I swear to you on my life, I have not watched this. Now, what he's saying is, when the sex, most guys spend their life chasing the sex. So it's like this, I gotta get it. And then once you get this, you don't know if you're gonna have it anymore. So you have to chase something else, or continue chasing it, because it's actually on its way out. When the sex is chasing you, that is a dynamic most men don't get to experience. Like, I've been in the game for a minute. I was doing cold approach for a while. I learned not just how to get sex, but how to, this might sound weird, but how to truly control a woman through her emotions. When you are able to achieve that goal, the sex chases you from a different perspective than what most men view it.
I can basically any girl on the planet. All of a sudden, I really just don't really want to. I have
Would
other
you
shit
lick
to
a girl
do.
out, or is that gay in your eyes because you're not doing that to breed her?
I think perhaps if a man licks a girl out, foreplay, I wouldn't say it's completely gay, no. But
Just
I
getting her
mean,
ready for
if
your
you
pipe
just
then.
licked a girl out and then didn't fuck her, I guess that would be kind of weird. And that's how I see sex with a condom or sex with a birth control. I see it as that. If you imagine you just licked a girl out and then stopped, I think it'd be kind of weird. I don't know, but who gives what I think, right? I'm just a guy, but my
You're just a
primary
guy with a lot of court
my
cases.
primary objective is to die with children.
Yeah.
My primary objective is children. Like, perhaps it's because if you have an empty life, if you're a man and you're at home all day and you're got a basic 9-to-5 job and you don't have much going on in your life, perhaps sex is a lot more entertaining to you because you have all these beautiful women you see on Instagram that you can't fuck, and you have nothing else you can do. But me, I can fuck any of these girls on Instagram, and I don't really want to because I can drive any car in the world and I can go anywhere in the world, and I have private jets and I have court cases to fight and I have an empire and I can do podcasts. I can do so many amazing things that sex is just further down the rankings than
Like
other
for
stuff
me-
I can do each day. If I wake up each day, I don't go, I want to. I wake up and go, you know what? By the time I do this and this and this and this and this and this and this, I've had a great day. Maybe it's just because my life's so fantastic.
Yeah.
And the fact that all these women these men are chasing I could have makes them less appealing. But most of these men get no pussy, so of course they're obsessed.
Exactly.
Starving men are obsessed with food. And
Yeah.
if you have a buffet, you eat a bit and you're kind of bored of it. If you have a buffet,
Food everywhere, and look how look at me. I'm not skinny. Like I mean, I'm not fat. I mean, I'm in good shape. I got muscle. I got, but if someone doesn't have a lot of food and you introduce them, all of a sudden you have a bunch of food in the house, bro, they're going to put on so much weight. Whereas me, I see cookies on the table, I see fruits, I see snacks, and I just I don't feel the need to eat it. I don't feel the need to, oh my God, let me scarf that down before it's gone. No, I just, maybe I'll get to it later. And yeah, that's very privileged, and it's very, I'm very grateful to God for allowing me to have that life. But that's the same thing when it comes to sex. Like, you don't care anymore. Or it's just not high up on the list. I don't feel the need to scarf down every food. I don't feel the need to sleep with every woman, because it's like, if I wanted to, I could. Now, Andrew, he's operating on like a Super Saiyan God level of abundance, okay? Most men don't even get to Kaioken level. I don't even know if you guys are guys. You probably watch Dragon Ball Z. A lot of guys watch anime. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like way up here. He's achieved like the highest level of abundance a man can possibly achieve. If you're a guy and you can hit like Kaioken, Super Saiyan level of abundance, most guys are more than happy with that. But most dudes are like Krillin status, bro. They take what they can get. You take what you can get. I was not satisfied with that. I realized that most men could take what they can get. I realized that at that time in my life, all I could do was take what I could get. And I hated that. And then I would watch cold approach videos, and I saw men, they didn't just take what they could get. They learned a skill set that they could get what they wanted. And I was like, well, why would I be subject to just whatever life deigned to give me when I could learn a skill set and take and learn to get, not take, learn to get and attract what I want? And that's why I sought after cold approach so much, because I didn't want to settle for whatever mid-girl life happened to, bring to my doorstep. Like, no. I don't want to be at the mercy of life. And this is why I'm working so hard on different business to be at the mercy of my 9-to-5 job. When I look around and I see men who aren't, they have the abundance to just, or the ability, they've learned a skill set that allows them to live the life that they want, to have the abundance that they want. I will bust the same way I busted my butt doing and learning charisma to get good, so that I won't have to be at the mercy of whatever life gives me in terms of women. I'm gonna bust my butt, learn whatever skill set necessary, teach myself in the school of YouTube. If I have to go back to school, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna bust my butt until I am no longer at the mercy of whatever a 9-to-5 job can give me. But I can forge and create a future. And that's my next venture. Women already conquered, already checkmarked that box. Now it's money. That's where I'm at in life. Now I gotta fix this money thing. And I know a lot of guys are in that same boat.
Yeah. I think like the average guy in my queue is just someone that goes to work. They've got a wife, maybe a couple of kids, and like sex is the most interesting thing they've got in their life. So I completely
of course, they have
agree.
nothing else interesting to do, but I have other very interesting things to do. But Yeah, so I'm not an overly sexual person, I would argue. And I'm glad I'm not. Because if I was overly sexual like Diddy, I'd be fucking toast by now. Imagine that 4 different federal agencies for 5 years of investigating me, and they managed to find all. They couldn't find anything. They couldn't find
that's crazy.
orgies. They couldn't find anything. They're like, okay, we found a couple girlfriends, and he had sex with them, and then they had sex with him like 100 times, and they're saying one of the times he didn't buy him a handbag, so it's rape. Like, even their cases are shit. They can't even build a case on me. I'm not overly sexual, because if I was, I'd be in jail.
Yeah, that's
Which,
true.
Again,
That's
let's
very
analyze
true.
This is truly hypocritical and insane that we live in a society which is overly sexualized. But then if you're a man who is overly sexualized, the second you do something they don't like, they use your over-sexuality against you. Look at Russell Brand. He was the poster boy of degeneracy. He was drug taking, running around all over TV, flirting with every single girl he met on television. Channel 4 were dragging girls up from the crowd to go flirt with him. He was seen as a playboy. It was funny. It was promoted. And now that he talks anti-vaccine, they're using it against him to try and put the guy in jail. So we're living in a society which is over-sexualizing everyone and then randomly picking and choosing the people they don't like who talk about something unrelated to sex.
It's not random.
And here's the thing. The only women who are allowed to wield sexuality without limitations are women. If a man tries to wield, they're going to come and get you, because everything a man does, society needs to profit from it, needs to benefit from it. Once you, as a man, are profiting too much, when you've stepped outside the system, you're no longer a slave, and society is rewarding you for your accomplishments and what you've become and what you've attained, and you're basking in that too much. You're indulging in the benefits of the life you created too much. No. Not being able to siphon resources from you, and you're not a cog in the system, so they can't pull the value from you. They're going to come for you. They're going to come for you hard, because everything you do needs to serve the system. You need to serve the system. And I don't want to make this too political. Let's stay on topic.
Is it really random?
Well, it's not random. No. They're choosing the people who talk about things unrelated to sex, usually politics, and using the sexuality against them.
Yep.
So they're making everybody guilty of a crime at the base level. Everybody is born guilty, the original sin. Yeah. And then randomly jailing the people, not randomly, choosing and jailing the people who do other things they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely unfair to Russell to promote a young man to take drugs and be sexual and then use it against him later. And it's completely unfair to convince women to go out and be sexual and make a bunch of money from it like Bonnie has and use it against her. What I'm saying is that society has put us here. We are exactly where we deserve to be.
Facts.
Bring the asteroid.
Yep. End times for real.
This is where we are now. This is where we are.
Mm.
And the only reason I'm not overly sexual, truthfully, is because I see it for what it is and I don't really want to partake too much. And it's literally saved my life.
Yeah.
Or I'd be in jail right now. And what would I have done wrong? Nothing. Is there anything wrong with 4 or 5 women? No. If they all want to, what's wrong with it? Nothing.
Yeah, I think as long as everything...
I'm being honest. Is baby oil illegal? I mean, we talk about it all the time.
Was hard to buy for a while in the shops, though.
No, well, we talk about it all the time like it's evidence of crime.
Yeah.
I'm not defending Diddy. I don't even like him. I'm saying, he had baby oil. Okay, where's the crime?
Exactly.
He f***ed all these women.
Where's the crime?
Oh, he had another man f*** his girl. Where's the crime?
That's what I'm saying. Me and my buddy were talking about just that at work the other day. It's like, you can say all the stuff he's done is weird, but that's not a case for a crime. Oh, he was doing this. Oh, he was having people smash his girl. Oh, he was potentially gay, smashing dudes. Oh, he was doing XYZ. He was having sex parties and orgies. Okay, you can say all day that that's weird. That's your opinion. That's fine. But where's the crime? Like, you can't say Bonnie Blue can smash 1,000 guys in a single day, but then say that Kanye West is a criminal for smashing or having sex orgies. These men came from all around the world to smash Bonnie Blue, and you're not calling her a sex trafficker. But if girls fly out to come see Diddy of their own free will, he's a sex trafficker. this is interesting. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense.
I think
Where's
as long
the
as things are
crime?
consensual.
There's no crime. But people are so stupid. Look, he had a bunch of sex, jail. That's not how it works. We're telling people to have a bunch of sex.
Exactly.
We're encouraging people to have a bunch of sex. We're telling women to have a bunch of sex. We're telling men to whoever they want and not have kids. This is what we're telling people to do, and then we're saying it's against the law when the person does something they don't like. It's a false dichotomy we live in. It saved my life that I didn't do it. Thank no blowjob that good. Jesus Christ. I'm glad I'm boring.
Until me.
Bonnie, I know you would never cry, but somehow I'd end up with a human trafficking charge for touching you. I don't know. They'd say, I forced you to do it. Nah, no.
People always say I belong in prison. Like when I see like TikToks, like, how is she not in jail? She's a predator. She's a groomer. And I'm like,
No, she's not.
Is 18. Everyone
Those
they're
men
consenting to it.
did it legally.
And I'm like,
They did it
How
willingly.
am I meant to get arrested for that? And if you're saying that's promoting culture, then how confusing that is that for the younger generation? Because if they're thinking consensual sex is rape, how many more times are they going to cry when that was also consensual? Because if you're saying I'm a rapist and I prove all the time everything's consensual and above board, then how confusing is that for the younger people?
Well, you're not a rapist, one. And two, consensual sex now currently under the law is because a woman can remove consent post-action because she's unhappy with how the relationship turned out. So all consensual sex ends up being once the woman's upset.
Okay, I've
Yeah.
got some really good advice for you.
Facts.
Next time you fuck a girl, make sure the Birkin is ready. No court cases.
Then there's going to be another Birkin and another Birkin. But no, you're right. This is the world we live in now. And it's very difficult and hard to be a man now. And that's why most men are actually just checking out and giving up on women by and large.
Maybe
Do you
I'll
think
say,
it's hard, you see a lot of men? Do you think it's hard being a man?
yeah, for sure. They get so much stick and women are so protected now. And I'm not saying that's for everything. Like there is loads of women crime. There is loads of women being murdered. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But men's mental health is fucked. Women do nothing to it to help it. And then women are the ones that talk about everyone should be happy and positive. It's women that sit there on their couches with their 2 kids in a council house making TikToks and videos. Instead of thinking, right, I'm going to better myself. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go and get a job so I can help be independent. They don't care. They just do fuck all of their life. And men have to work so hard. So yeah, I want to pleasure them. Yes, I want to make them feel happy. Couldn't give a shit if their wife's having to go to bed crying because I've just fucked their husband.
What's your biggest failure or regret, Bonnie? And don't give me none of this. No failure, no regret.
No. Like, I guess just... I mean, I didn't fall into the system for too long. I only worked in a corporate job for 5 years. If I'd have stayed in that for 20 years, I'd be saying, fuck me, that was the mistake. I copied everyone else. But I guess it's just trusting people too soon, not understanding, I guess, just being naive that people a lot of the time have other intentions, which you don't see at times.
And what one piece of advice would you give Andrew Tate?
Get the Birkins. Drop the charges.
I think he does get the Birkins anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, my problem is very similar to yours, Bonnie. Is that I'm too well known, and once you get too well known, problems arise. There is a limit.
Can you ever go back?
Well, what do you mean ever go back? Do
As
you mean
in-
disappear from the internet?
Well, I mean,
I think I kind of already have. I'm already doing a lot less than I previously did. There'll be a day I disappear from the internet, but the story of Icarus is true. And I think Bonnie actually...
so when you say there'll be a day you disappear off the internet because you'll get assassinated.
I think the story of Icarus is true. And you know what? I'm saying this genuinely from the bottom of my heart. I like to believe I'm a pretty good judge of people. And I believe Bonnie is a good person. I believe she's very honest. I believe you're a good person. And I think you should keep in mind, no matter what you do, the story of Icarus, that if you get too close to the sun, something bad is going to happen. And as a woman, I can't even truly exactly
18-year-olds
pinpoint...
provide good SPF, so I'm all right.
Well, yeah. As a woman, I can't exactly identify how it would happen.
Yeah.
As a man, it's easier to work out how it's going to happen. But you've already had a taste of it now. And a lot of life is finding the happy medium and the happy balance where you're buoyant and you're making money and you're well known, but you're not too well known and not making too much money. Because if you do too well, problems appear. And this is not just in sex work. This is not just online. This is with everything. This is with being a thief from Wall Street or being a drug dealer. There's a level of drug dealer where you have a nice car, a nice house, major house. So you have to be very careful and make sure you have the level of buoyancy where you're doing well, but you're not doing too well.
I think it's
But
realizing
you've
what
gone
you
way,
have.
way
That's
beyond
true.
it.
I have gone way beyond it.
And
I'm
is there
saying-
any going back?
Well, the story of Icarus is true, and we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. I have to beat all of these cases, which I believe I'll do because I've done nothing wrong. The process is to punishment. And in the meantime, I'm just going to commentate on the society that we live in, as opposed to trying to change it very much. I'm just going to commentate on it and enjoy it for what it is. And This has been a very enlightening and interesting conversation. And I had a feeling Bonnie and I would agree on most things because I have one set of facts and circumstances.
Exactly.
And Bonnie's not sitting here trying to pour or push any delusions, which is actually quite refreshing because most of the time, if you watch a man on a podcast with a woman, the women are completely delusional. If you watch whatever podcast or you watch Fresh and Fit or you watch these other podcasts I've done, you sit with a whole bunch of delusional women who just say delusional bullshit, saying they're 10 out of 10s and all this garbage. But you're very realistic and it's very nice. And
See, even the people that are in sex work, they expect stuff.
That's
Like,
one
people
thing. One thing I love about my girl, bro. Like, she's grounded. You gotta look for that trait in your girl, bro. She has to have both feet on the ground, living in reality, not head in the clouds. Like, I can talk to her when she makes statements, when she says things, when we have conversations. Her opinions are like every time she talks, I'm like, I'm proud of you. Sometimes I say it out loud. Sometimes I say it in my head. But it's like, I am proud that you are a logical thinking woman because it's so rare. And I just feel, when I hear her talk, I just feel so blessed to like have found her, bro, because it's like, you're logical. You make sense. That sounds like such a crazy statement, but it's just, men know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. To sit across from a woman who's not only beautiful, but loyal and supportive, and she makes sense, she's grounded in reality, it almost never happens.
The reason why they should pay for that, you should never expect anything. And too many women just expect things to fall on their plate.
Yeah, which is a symptom of society.
Yeah.
Because society has told women that, you know, they should get whatever they want without having to work too hard for it. And, you know, a lot of them have bought into that. Some of them are beautiful enough to pull it off. Some aren't. And the ones who aren't get upset and they march and talk about a bunch of bullshit, like, you know, they need more wages or more money or the patriarchy.
What should a woman that hasn't been born with overt beauty do then?
Well, she should find a man she loves with all of her heart, and she should encourage him to want to take care of her. I mean, the masculine imperative is to protect and provide for what we love.
Agreed.
It's very easy to find a man who will take care of you and provide for you and protect you and give you what you want if you make him feel respected and loved. It's very easy to do. But if you refuse to make him feel respected and loved, you're never going to find what you want. And it doesn't matter how attractive you are, as long as you're realistic about the kind of partner you choose. If you're
luckily, plastic surgery is a thing nowadays as well.
Well, there you go. But if you're an average-looking woman and you want a 10 out of 10 super famous, super rich man, you have to understand that you're never going to probably get what you want out of him. But if you're prepared to have an average man working an average job, you probably get the world out of him. He'll give you his very best. So a lot of it's down to expectations, and I think a lot of people instinctively know this. But we live in a world where nobody's ever happy and the grass is always greener. There's nothing more toxic and more destructive to the female mind than social media in general, not because of what Bonnie's doing. Actually, I would argue not because of what Bonnie's doing. I would argue if you look at a woman on TikTok and watch them, next time you see a girl on TikTok, I've seen them do it. They scroll past a guy giving her a Birkin, then a girl on a private jet with some guy with roses, then a G-Wagon full of roses, then a boat in Dubai. And women are sitting there with their boyfriends, their normal boyfriend with a normal job, going, why are these bitches getting all of this? And I'm not getting it. That woman's not even that pretty. I'm as pretty as her. I want all of this. And before you know it, she starts DMing me trying to get it.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So the world's completely because social media is giving this grass is always greener garbage. And then the women who are with me are crying because they can't find a man who sits at home with them every night and watches Netflix. And the women who have a man who sits at home with them every night watching Netflix is crying because they can't find a man like me to pay for a fucking private jet. And everyone's miserable and everyone's unhappy. And everyone's just chasing all over the place and nobody has any grounding anymore.
We should try an experiment. I think we would all survive. We should try an experiment where we get rid of social media for 1 year. Everybody gets rid of, well, this would be difficult because people make their livelihoods on social media. So we're so intertwined with it now that people's businesses would collapse. But in terms of like, let's say we kept YouTube, because YouTube actually does provide a lot of value and you can learn a lot of stuff. We kept YouTube, but we got rid of Instagram, we got rid of Facebook, we got rid of Twitter, we got rid of like these weird social apps, right? Got rid of all the dating apps for 1 year. 1 year of nobody all around the globe using social media. And then we just did statistical like data, took polling of like how people's mental health was. Did it get worse? Did it get better? Did people strive for more connection? And we just documented this. Everybody just documented this. You probably need to do this for more than a year, but I feel as though if we did that, the mental health of both men and women would skyrocket. In a good way. People would be far more at peace, far more content with what they have. They wouldn't be the anxiety levels would plummet, right? I feel like the anxiety levels would plummet. These vape stores that are profiting off of people's anxiety, oh, they would lose a lot of sales. People would go out more. There'll be more people at the parks. There'll be more people out at the fairgrounds. There'll be more people interacting in real life, at the pool, at the basketball court, doing cookouts, playing music. There'd be more public things if people got off their phone. Imagine being at the grocery store and you're in line, and instead of literally every single person in line on their phone like this, they're waiting to go get to pay for their groceries, and they're just earbuds in. Oh, it's time to pay. They go pay, and then they leave and they go home. Didn't talk to a soul all day. Imagine nobody's on their phone, and you're looking around, and hey, I like your shirt. Hey, where'd you get those shoes, by the way? Those are nice. Yeah, I saw a pair of those the other day, a different color. I was like, man, but I like those colors even more. Like, where'd you get that from? Oh, cool. Spark up a conversation. I think society would take a turn for the better so quickly if we got rid of social media. Relationships, instead of comparing your relationship to this person's relationship, instead of being bombarded with toxic drama from TikTok and people's relationships crashing and burning. People would be far more content with the man and the woman that these individuals to monkey branch to. Comparing your life. I don't see what's going on out there with everybody else's lives. I have mine. Mine is good. If it's not good, I'll leave. But if it is good, I'll stay. And the things that aren't that bad, I'll learn to get over. Instead of hyper fixating on that one aspect where everything else in the relationship is good. I feel like the world would be a much better place without social media. 1 year, no social media. Let's do it, guys.
And the grounding used to be from ignorance. You'd meet someone, you knew them, you only knew them, you didn't know the outside world. Even in my generation, when I was 21, I didn't know what Monaco was. I didn't know Monte Carlo. Dubai didn't exist. I didn't see Saint-Tropez. I didn't see any of this. If you're 21 now, you're sitting there, the woman you fell in love with in high school, she's in Monaco on a boat, you're working in Greg's, and you're like, what? I need money now. Like, the world's changed. Everything's complicated. Everything's difficult. So I would argue, even though I don't have the answers, the best thing we can do is start from a foundational base of truth and honesty, which is why I say I respect Bonnie for being truthful and honest.
Exactly.
It's much better to be truthful and honest like she is than do what these other women are doing, which is pretend they love me to get some money and then cry when they don't get it. That's the true destructive society. The truly destructive female is not Bonnie Blue. It's the woman who cries because she doesn't get the money she wants. It's the woman who takes a man to divorce court and liquidates his empire.
Yep.
Because she's unhappy that he had a fling on a fucking holiday trip with his boys.
Yeah, exactly. The ones destroying society are not the women at the brothel. They're not the women at the brothel. Like the Bunny Ranch, they're not. The Bunny Ranch isn't destroying society. There's always been the Bunny Ranch. There's always been brothels. There's always been sex work, and society was still structured in a way where most people live decent lives, despite there being sex work in the world. They're not destroying society. It's advocating that everyone should live a lifestyle equivalent to the Bunny Ranch, equivalent to the brothel house. Every girl should live like a sex worker, think like a sex worker, trade up, view men, analyze them from a sex worker standards, is what's destroying society. We think it's the explosion of sex work. No, it's the explosion of normalization that everyone should opt of, female sexual liberation.
Those are the toxic, destructive women. It's the women who belittle the man who goes to work every day to pay the rent, to pay for the house, and won't suck his dick, like Bonnie describes. When you want to have a man go out and work all day, every day, and give up his life, getting up early in the morning to carry bins around so that you can eat food, and when he comes home, you have no admiration or respect for him. That's destructive.
Yeah.
Far more destructive than what Bonnie's doing. Because Bonnie's honest. And we should operate from both sides.
Hey, look, no one can deny that Bonnie Blue and Andrew Tate have a message that disrupts. Whether you like it or not, their message gets viral. If you want to have a presentation that also disrupts your marketplace, but in your unique way, then go ahead right now to presentation-profits.com and I'll show you exactly how to create a presentation that breaks the noise, gets you noticed, and wins you new business.com.
Interesting.
You can't be naive to it. You can't be stupid to it. And I guess for a while I fell into that.
So Andrew, if it's not about money, it's about power, then obviously there's no amount of money that would, if you could have all the power in the world, 1-to-1 solo with Bonnie.
Would I
Clear,
fuck
tight halt and good blowjob.
Would I fuck Bonnie for all the power in the world?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, of course.
You know what? I think we've watched quite a bit of this. There's only like a few minutes left in this. If you guys want to go watch the rest of that, I would highly recommend it. It's very, very good interview. And honestly, surprisingly, I can officially say I have a lot more respect for Bonnie Blue. I'm repulsed by what she does for work. Absolutely. But her as an individual, the way she thinks, I have far more respect for it. Could she be lying? Could she be manipulating? There's always a possibility. She is a woman. But if I step into a scenario, or if I, let's just take her at her word for now. True about how she thinks and how she views society and how she views the world. I have far more respect for her than I initially thought I would. And I think a lot of guys do, actually. Yeah, she's a hoe. And if you only view her from that perspective, because that's the only perspective I viewed her from. I never seen any interviews with her prior to this one. This is my first encounter of actually listening to her worldview and how she thinks and why she does what she does and how she views men, how she views women, how she views society. This is at her mind. And honestly, I respect her far more than other women who are living the same life but are still feigning, some fake virtue. I respect her. She seems to respect men. She seems to have, whether it be sympathy or you want to call it empathy. She has something there. Cares about men. Doesn't want to see them, get falsely accused or taken advantage of. But that says a lot more than a lot of other women who aren't doing sex work, right? Other women who aren't doing sex work, but they'll gladly falsely accuse a man. She may not be doing sex work, but won't take care of her man sexually, make his life miserable, offer zero value. I don't know. Say what you want. I have far more respect for her. Don't respect her career choice. Don't respect what she does with her life. Her mind, at least to a degree, assuming she's telling the truth. But yeah, that's all for today, guys. Tomorrow, I'll either be back with another live stream or I'll be uploading a video. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, guys. Actually, before I close out, go ahead and like the video, guys. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And I'm getting more views on these live streams. So I really appreciate that down below as to what you guys want to see. Not just what you want to see, but anything that I can improve on, anything you want to see me do, any advice you'd want to give. Just let me know in the comment section. I'm always trying to improve, and I love your guys' input. So if there's any little thing, it could be the smallest thing that would make sense to tweak, or if you guys want to send in video, that's another thing. You can see my jrandall_ on Instagram. You guys can send me any videos you want me to react to. You can send it there. I'm going to put my email over here as well next to my Instagram. I'm going to update this whole thing so you guys can send and email me videos. or you could just leave them in the comment section, any videos you want me to react to. So you guys can be more a part of this. It doesn't have to be super long videos either. It could be like clips, TikTok reels that you see, and then I will compile these throughout the week and then react to them in real time in these lives. So you can have an impact on what these live streams look like. And if you want, you can attach, like, send in your view on the reel or the video that you sent in. I'll read it off, get your perspective, and then we can dive into my perspective on the video, and we can just, or if you want to ask questions based on the video, just have a more interactive, thing going on here. So send me your feedback, send me your questions, send me your videos, and let's make this live stream something really cool, really interesting, and get more engagement. But do me a favor, guys, like the video, and if you got value from it and you're not already subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. And until next time, guys, take it easy.